We at Axe to Grind have a new sponsor. Out of Fifth City, Richmond, Virginia, Urban Cabin Soap Company. All of their products are handmade and vegan. They make soap, shave soap, beard oils, bath bombs. They make wonderful Festivus and other holiday gifts. Or treat yourself. If you don't know what that smell is, sorry to break it to you, buddy, but it's probably you. Visit them at urbancabinsoapco.com. Enter the discount code AXE2GRIND for 10% off. And you can follow them on Instagram at Urban Cabin Soaps. Thank you.
Hey yo, check this out, right? Here's Cotty, the man with the yellow hat. And this track right here is about the motherfucking beat nuts, alright? And my partner Curious George is about to get into some real deep shit. So what you do is you open your motherfucking ears and check this shit out. And if you can't dig it, then break the fuck out.
Curious the magician is the podium like a public speaker, highly energized. Power is Boricua, strictly representing for my people Spanish speaking. Shit got you grooving, half Cuban, Puerto Rican. Yeah, got you feeling the funk. Who's the mystery man? Saying pop the trunk. No need to second guess me and psycho.
Oh,
Welcome to Axe to Grind,
the
hardcore podcast of your dreams. I'm Patrick.
I'm Bob.
and I'm Twilight Tom. It's getting a little dark in here.
We let it go dark. We've only recorded in the dark once else. It's pretty dark in here.
It is pretty dark in here. You know what? Once I set my levels, though, I just got to make sure Tom is all good, and then
How's that?
it's good.
Boom.
It's good. You're good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Ate some pizza.
Turn my headphones up.
And there we go. We're going to talk about today fucking hardcore. First, let's give it out to our sponsors.
Death Wish Inc. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh wow! Brr, brr, brr. Whew. What can I say about Death Wish that I haven't said here before?
How about we let Tom say some nice things?
Oh, all right, very good.
I think it's one of the more important record labels in the last 20-something years. Probably one of the, I would go as far as say, one of the most important hardcore labels in the history of punk and hardcore.
What do you think about a goblin little troll motherfucker that doesn't agree with that assessment?
You stupid.
Yo, I think one of the biggest compliments you ever paid was done privately, where you said that, and maybe we said it on the podcast, but I don't know, it was a long time ago. You said you would have been excited to have either of your bands be on Death Wish.
100%. 100%.
That's a pretty big that's a compliment.
They put out Our Lady of Annihilation, so
Yeah.
we won't hold it against you, Trey.
Yeah.
But you know,
Wait, what is that?
the Most Precious Blood record that I was not on.
What?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
That's what I heard. I don't know. Go to the Facebook group, see what's popping with that. Apparently, if I'm having a bit of a renaissance.
Renaissance!
You really aren't giving enough credit.
Oh, Death Wish, big
I'm not
props.
getting enough credit for all my malaprops.
Yeah.
If the Gremlins sequel was if Gremlins 3 was set
In
anywhere,
Salem.
I'd like it to be set in Salem, and I think there'd be a scene at the Death Wish offices.
Absolutely. You can go to their web store,
Deathwishing.com.
and if you were to type in a little promo code
Axe to Grind.
and you spelled it out, which would, I mean, that just makes sense, right?
Spelling. It's brilliant.
You will receive 10% off your orders,
Yes. Very cool.
which is lit. And
lit.
we're getting the constant feedback that many of you are taking advantage of that. But if you are not taking advantage of it because nothing on Death Wish immediately appeals, it has one of the strongest mail orders in the game.
So strong. So much
Familiarize
stuff.
yourself. You could hate the label and still it is a massive resource.
Huge. And it is starting to be holiday season. So go get yourself some presents. Tell your moms, tell your dads, tell your sisters, tell your brother. Go buy me something at deathwishing.com.
I have I would like, not in the distro, but a record that they put out that I feel may have gotten overlooked.
Please.
The Great Deceiver.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Thomas from At the Gates.
Yep.
Had a record out with Trustkill, and their last record in 2007, Life is Wasted on the Living. It's his hardcore band. It's fucking great.
Right.
It's awesome.
So it's like musical professionals playing good hardcore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Which can be a whiff, but this is not.
This is not a whiff. It's
Okay.
very, very good.
That's sick.
Great
I'll
deceiver.
revisit that because obviously his voice is sick and he's like, but
Did you ever listen to any of the Dysphere stuff with him?
yeah, I have.
Fucking good.
It's so weird. Should that be what gives me, it heartens me and gives me hope for War Profiteer? Is that you can have
maybe Victim.
Victim,
maybe.
true, yeah.
Maybe the fact that Osh sold tens of thousands of records.
There we go. Here, what if War Profiteer was my biggest act?
Not ruling it out.
Yeah.
That
Stranger
image
things have
that we
happened.
talked about. I think we make that a downloadable shirt design that people can download themselves. It's a
And like we paste it on
it's-
shirts or on things.
or make patches with it. It's
butt flaps.
bullets in front of a MacBook.
Yeah, so the way that we write War Profiteer songs is they're written on a MacBook while loading a cartridge for a handgun. So get in on this action, everybody.
And we'll, if you go to axegrindpodcast.com, no, that's not a real thing. But we'll
yet.
figure out how to create download stuff. It'll be on your thumb drive that's for sale.
Yes, very good. Our second sponsor, Triple B Records. Also, is Mass just killing the game? Massachusetts has had a lot of shit on lock for a long time.
Fucking Red Sox.
Good
fuck
labels.
'em.
Fuck the Red Sox.
Fuck 'em.
I know. Good labels. They've had some classic bands we've talked about, and we get the emails from the Mass people because they're real provincial.
Since Manny, have the Red Sox had a player who wasn't abjectly dislikable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Who have you liked? What Red Sox have you seen and gone, there's a gentleman I'd like to go out to
Jackie Bradley Jr.
Bella de Beppo
Mookie
with?
Betts. I would definitely go out
You
with
like
Mookie
him?
Betts.
to Buca de Beppo?
Wait, didn't
Yes.
he? Didn't Milton Bradley? Is he on the Red Sox right now?
He's no longer on the Red Sox.
Oh.
But what a name!
Milton.
I mean, also
He's
Milton
a
Bradley,
Dodger.
a constant journeyman since then, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like in a way
Times.
that I like. Like that's like a thing that I
I like a journeyman.
It's been at least 4 years since I gave a fuck about baseball, but I
I mean, Pedroia looks like a dick.
looks like a dick. I think he is a dick.
He probably is
isn't
a dick, but Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley, and I'd even go Andrew Benintendi. Wow. Hang out with any of those.
Would you go get dinner with Johnny Damon?
I probably would.
Yeah, he's probably a pretty decent guy.
He seems cool.
I think he got rejected by the Red Sox fandom because not only did he go to the Yankees,
I mean, it
Shaved
was
his
a sellout move. Shaved
shaved
his
his
fucking
face.
face. Yeah,
and
shaved
then
his face. That's like.
then this year he said he wanted the Dodgers to win. Apparently, so
Oh, really? Well, you know what?
He's a Cali dude.
Follow your heart. Yeah, exactly. Follow your heart, John Damon.
he's like,
Listen to your heart.
So Triple B.
Triple B.
Calling for you.
So we've recently done a episode with Jay from Mind Force.
J Force.
J Force.
Air Force J.
Air Force J. That's probably my favorite.
He
And
was stoked on that one. I think he's going to use it.
that is a hot record that they're putting out. But it is just one of many hot records.
I know. So the Kulu 7-inch is moving. We've bigged up that a few times. You know what? Let's throw it back. Get yourself an America's Hardcore comp.
Oh, okay.
We know that a lot of people out there enjoy our year in hardcore episodes. We got a couple more coming, probably in December. Those comps kind of serve as an audio play of that. A good comp can kind of serve as a timepiece for stuff that was going on around then. Hopefully, you capture some of that. I was talking about I think it was the first one that has that title fight song, Dreamcatcher, on it. And that's just a banging track. We know that there's a Crazy Bitter End song on one of them, Crazy Power Trip song, the Whale song hardcore track. Even that TUI song that's on the newest one.
Saw it. We talked about it. It's the
Knocks.
hottest. It's the hottest.
It bangs. So there's lit tracks, and it's just cool. So you should support it. I want to see America's Hardcore 5. It's tough. I'm usually in for trilogies, and he's got to 4. He might as well go to 6.
Might as well go to 5.
Yeah,
Oh, 6?
Because so do you have the 2 trilogies.
You know what's cool?
Like Star Wars.
My mother keeps buying these frames for my comic books, right?
Oh, nice.
But
That's cool.
but they're made for. She keeps getting them in 4, and I don't have the heart to tell her that most of my series run 5.
Yeah.
So when she finds out that my series are 5, she's all disappointed. She's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "Because you bought this nice frame,
4, yeah.
But I do have a series coming out with 4, so
it's
Ma, get
perfect.
excited. Okay.
You should get her the ones with 5 and put your 5th in. You can just put the 5th in the 5th frame and say you got the other one. So
Staple it to the wall.
Hey.
So
TripleBRecords.limitedrun.com. You're going to want to enter that code we mentioned before, but just one more time, it is,
Axe to grind.
and you probably should.
Spell it out if you want that 10%.
So do that. Thank you to our sponsors. Y'all rule.
Thank you. This is a milestone. This is Mosh Madness.
We've been teasing it out for a while. We've
People
talked
are
about it a lot.
fiending for it.
We've heard that, yeah. So we figured we'd do an episode. We are going to get to a little mini round here, but the big thing that we've noticed is that some of you have reading comprehension problems and some of you have listening comprehension problems. So we're going to break down.
We're going to make it real clear.
We're going to try to make it clear. Talk about it because we want it to be fun. This is going to be fun. It's already been fun. It actually, we're going to talk about 8 records today. Fucking fun to listen to these records with the idea of what am I listening for? What am I hearing? What do I like? What don't I like? You know, and it's fun to listen to fucking music. And we're just giving you we're setting the table for you to listen to a bunch of cool music, whether you're super familiar or whether you're not familiar at all. Hope you enjoy it. So, the first thing I want to do is talk about Mosh Madness. Where did the name Mosh Madness come from, Tom?
From the beautiful mind of Tom Sheehan.
What's it based off of?
March Madness.
Okay. Patrick, you are a casual sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what March Madness is. Can you explain it to the people?
It is a college basketball tournament meant for compulsive gamblers.
Correct. It is the NCAA. Both there's a men's and women's version of it. But at the end of the season, the top 64 to start, but then it's been expanded to 68, which is relevant to today's conversation. Enter a single elimination tournament that eventually ends up in a Sweet 16, an Elite 8, a Final 4, and then finally the championship game. This is fun. As Patrick said, this is a gambling dream because you have a bracket.
Andy forward to death.
Yeah.
If you can be casual and gamble
Yeah, I think
at
we
your
yeah,
office.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you are not casual and you hang on every because the college sports look to many parts of the country, I'm not telling you anything crazy. To Bard students, I am telling you something crazy.
And maybe to the music fan who's into a music subculture enough to listen to a Minutia podcast by the elderly.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, asshole.
Was it my girlfriend that's called us elderly? Is that right?
Yeah. But it's all good. We know. She got love.
Ain't all good. It's all good. Remember when you said I'm at my most New York?
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming out.
I can't wait for the Hollywood episode. I'm so.
Is there gonna be one?
Can you
Yeah, we're
surprise
gonna
us?
let you off the chain.
You surprise us and let it off the chain.
Yeah.
Like if you want to come with the beard dyed, the handlebar just black, you can do
All
it.
right.
But you surprise us. You pick
Shave
the day.
myself like a big ass bald spot.
Dude. Just come in with a do rag. We won't even know what you got going on.
I could like play guitar on a belt.
Right.
Fuck.
Right.
That's when we got to get that YouTube episode going.
So here's my thought though.
Okay.
So I feel like
Yes.
you had a conversation about Bard versus like Midwestern.
Well, we were just talking about there's people who are familiar with college sports and the whole thing, and there's might be a listener who has no fucking idea.
No
what this thing is,
fucking clue.
and no interest.
Right, but so I think the only way this differs, Mosh Madness is different from March Madness. I feel like knowing too much during March Madness,
Drives you insane?
can fuck you up.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
If you kind of like are on the periphery, you might fuck around and win.
Yes, correct.
But if you know too much, you go, there's no way Duke's losing in the second round.
Yeah.
Dude's not losing to this Wake Forest
Right.
11 seed. No way.
You know what I mean? And then a lot of people, and the same thing with like the Super Bowl, the people that have no fucking idea what's going on are usually the ones who win.
Right.
Because they're just going on winging a prayer.
Like I like the colors better, or
Yeah.
like their mascot name, or whatever the fuck.
Right.
This, I feel like it might actually benefit you not to know as much either.
Yeah, I think so.
Now that I'm thinking about it, because it's like
It's
if you're
single
going in
elimination.
there with a preconceived notion that it's like a fait accompli that, it's going to be
X record.
Fury versus whatever at the last step, like you don't know that.
Well, I also think it's important to remember that, as we've said a million times, your timeline is not
Not the
reality.
truth.
Right.
So if you see somebody big up in something, think about where you are geographically and who your friends are and how it may not represent the larger world.
Right, and I think a lot of these records, most people might not have even heard.
I agree.
The good majority. I mean, even these ones on the bubble that we're about to speak on,
Mm-hmm.
we've all were familiar with all of them, but we gave them a more discerning
deep
listen.
listen, yeah.
And you're like, "Fuck, where was I in this one?"
So
I
pulling
missed-
back,
yes.
and I want to pull back because I want to get to all that because this is the conversation. We're gonna have this. We're giving you this preamble so you can kind of get set up. and know where we're coming from and why we're doing this. March Madness, it's a fun tournament. Is brackets you pick. Sometimes having all the knowledge is great, and sometimes the person who just picked favorite mascot wins.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
It can be just that way. This is so that's the premise. It is based on a 64 team format. However, some years ago they started doing an additional 4 teams, and there was a play-in game. You're listening to the play-in or bubble episode, where the last group of bands from the quote 60 seed to 68, and I'll explain where we got that, are playing against each other to get the last 4 spots in the tournament proper. So you're hearing that. First question, where did you guys get this list from? We've explained this kind of casually, but I want to do it formally here. I threw out on Twitter randomly, hey, what are the best, did I say best or most important? I think I said best.
best.
What are the best hardcore records since 2010?
10.
We got a fuck ton of responses.
Insane.
I then took those and tallied them all. There were over 200 records mentioned. Do you know how many hardcore records have come out since 2010?
I couldn't
More
begin
than
to
200
guess.
apparently.
Me neither. It's not foolish to say over 1,000.
And
It could be several
easily.
thousand.
Yeah, I'd put. I will go as far as to say 5,000 if we're talking about everything.
I feel like
under
Youth
the
Attack
umbrella.
Demos, EPs, and so, yeah.
Youth Attack has done 1,000 records
Yeah,
since
yeah, yeah.
2010. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So we took the top 68 by the number of votes. Now, then we quote unquote seeded them by the number of votes they got. The top vote getter that I will tell you was Fury Paramount. Let me ask it this way, so it's not, I asked what's the best. I won't ask that because we'll answer that as we go through this. Do you think that the Fury Paramount LP is the most important or most popular record that's come out since 2010?
I would say no.
I don't think so.
I think provably not true in the second.
Yes.
The first
Yeah.
is a
And
matter of
in
debate,
no way being
Yeah.
disrespectful.
No, not. I mean, I love the
I think
record.
they'd
I
agree.
think everybody
Yeah.
thinks
Yeah.
it's a good record. But there were records that certainly, in the moment, were more popular. Terror Keepers of the Faith. It is hard to understate how popular that record was when it
Yeah.
came out. It came out in 2010. It is somewhere in the mix of these 68 records. It's not. It didn't get. It wasn't one of the top 10 vote getters. If you had to pick 10 records, even a non-fan would be hard-pressed to say that there were many records that were more popular or
In
were
the
more
moment.
important at the moment than that record.
Sure.
So we have a diversity of listeners, and I want to ask you your opinion. When you see something like Fury Paramount at the top of the heap, and which again, I totally understand why somebody could say that that's the best, right? But and something like Keepers of the Faith lower on the list. Do you believe that that is more attributable to recency bias or the fact that there is just a march of time where a younger person is definitely going to identify more with Fury than they will Terror record from 10 years ago?
Let me give you 2 reasons that you didn't mention.
Okay.
Because I think these are very relevant to how this was done. The survey was only conducted on Twitter, so it's a limited base. 2, because it was done on Twitter, and that wasn't the 2 reasons, but the 2 things. Because it was done on Twitter, you can see the other people's responses. So there's a certain point where it's oh yeah, that one too.
Right.
And so Fury Paramount, it started gaining momentum. And because I'm the person who tallied all these, when you go through, there was a couple records that were getting listed a lot. Like it was almost in clusters. Like it was like, oh yeah, I just saw this response. Yeah, I can't forget Fury. And so that kind of gained traction. So there's a little bit of monkey see, monkey do. People seeing other people vote for it.
Jogs your
and vote
memory.
for it. Exactly. 2,
Yeah.
that's the only big record they have. I will use the example Code Orange. We'll be discussing them today. Code Orange has 3 records in these top 68. I Am King and Love Is Love received hella more votes than Forever.
Okay.
That makes very little sense because Code Orange, Love Is Love, I don't think it's dismissive to say that's significantly less popular than Forever.
by at least
significant margin,
Yeah.
right? But I believe that there was some vote splitting rather, between people who are going Code Orange, I'm King, or Forever. They were just giving it to one or the other.
Right.
I think another example is Angel Dust. They have 2 of their 3 records made this top 68, but one of them got a lot, and then one of the records was left out because it only got a couple votes.
Right.
So that again was split vote splitting. Whereas Fury, they have another LP coming out, but it's not out yet. And the 7-inch is fine. It's pretty good, but I don't think it's not nearly as good as Paramount. So if you're voting for Fury, you're voting for Fury Paramount.
Right. And do you think the Twitter kind of question being posed in that way, if people knew what the underlying reason, you think that might have changed people's answers?
It 100% would have. And it's it's
and
sort
that was
of
the point.
It's sort of the point was that we want it sort of random and for people to answer in the casual way that you would answer a question like that, to engage and to give kind of your off the cuff answer. There were people you could tell just throughout like the first 10 things they could think of. Then there was people who you could tell like, oh wow, they spent some time with this, or had had a preconceived list, because there's people out there who do that.
And there were definitely people who were like, oh, I get it. You're naming 6 records that no one else is going to name.
Oh yeah, that person appeared. Yep.
You know what I mean? A lot of like, really, bro? Like this is the one you're going for?
I know. A lot of avoiding the obvious, which, all right, I get it. I get your inkling to do that, but it also...
you want to give some shine and look like a special, amazing little thing.
Yeah. So, all good. We're all good with that. So, of this top 68...
Hollywood Tom is not all good with that. No,
we're waiting for him to come out. I love that version. The top 68, one thing that's interesting, we can talk about some of the omissions as we go through, but there's only one Title Fight record in here. Maybe people don't think of Title Fight as a purely hardcore band. They're not. But if you were to pick 70 records that were important or considered best in the hardcore world and adjacent world, at least 2 Title Fight LPs 100%. Are making that for sure. If not all 3. And I know y'all still care about that band.
Of course. They're one of the biggest in that time frame.
I don't know if you can argue anyone's been bigger.
Right. So here's
maybe you argue Trapped Under Ice. Maybe. And I don't think you can.
I think you can. But neither here nor there. Let's talk about this. That fact should illustrate something to our listeners. Yeah. That this is not comprehensive.
No.
Exactly.
This
is for fun.
It's for fun, and it's
not a competition.
And it's pulled,
that's where we're going.
It's pulled from. I mean, look. Name me a crust label, exclusively crust.
Havoc.
Label. Okay, so maybe the Havoc listeners don't know what Twitter is. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
we know that there's a certain lane. Maybe you call it the mainstream hardcore lane. This stuff falls into. There's certainly stuff that all 3 of us love that would be more on the fringe of this that didn't make it. There's bands that I'm like, oh wow, this band got completely omitted, and I love this record by them.
Yeah, like where's we butter our bread with butter?
With that favorite band of mine.
Where's Captain Chunk, no Captain Chunk?
Right.
Is that a real band name? We butter our bread with butter.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. I mean,
where's See You Next Tuesday?
There's bands. There's
like
bands. For example, we did a listening party, or we had them on a new music episode for Nightbirds. That's not to, I'd say, the average Axe to Grind listener. Like, oh, the coolest band. This is the most popular band. There's a reason that band got signed to Fat Wreck and is doing multiple records on Fat Wreck.
Right.
They've done fucking very well.
Yep.
They don't appear on this list.
No, it might fall through a very specific hole for some of our listeners, or some of our listeners who appear on Twitter.
Yes, correct. So no, this is not comprehensive. It's pretty goddamn good though. I was pretty impressed with the amount of records that made it. I'm pretty impressed with the diversity within, what we'd consider our buttered bread. And so that gets to the main point that we've talked about over and over. This is for fun. We don't want people to catch feelings. Even today, we're talking about 8 records, which is fucking awesome. And we hope that you all give all these records a listen. The biggest point of this is to give people another reason to check out music that's new to them and enjoy it and have conversations with the people you enjoy, whether that's us, whether that's your friends, whether that's
the internet,
just the internet at large, about music. It's a fun time.
Bob, can I ask you some clarification questions?
Please.
Just for our folks at home.
Yes.
So right now, as we stand, there are 64 records.
68.
64 records
Okay.
that are locked in, that are in the tournament, correct?
60 records are locked in. The last 4 spots are up for the bubble.
Oh.
Is that what you're
I thought there was going to be 64, and then we whittle these 8 down to an extra 4, and then it's 68 altogether.
No, because
So
it's
these
a
are 4 to
4. It's
64.
the
Okay.
way the great clarifying question. So it's the way a 68 tournament, the way these tournaments work. It's in multiples, right? So it goes from 64 entrants, be it a team in a sport or in this an
record.
album,
Yeah.
a record, down to 32, down to 16, down to 8 to 4 to 2. When they talked about expanding the tournament in college basketball, the reason they did it because they're greedy motherfuckers. This is one of the most
Right. And the
money-making
way-
enterprises in the whole fucking world.
This is a more legit. How Bob has kind of gleaned these records are a more legit way. It's way more
Yeah.
legit than how the NCAA picks
Yeah.
the folks that
Sure.
are.
Oh yeah, especially
making
at
that.
the bottom. We
Yeah.
basically we did it by number of votes and then literally just going through that and evening it out at
Yeah.
the bottom. That's it. So they couldn't expand. The next step up from 64 would have been to do it in true bracket format.
Oh,
without
right.
thinking, would have been 128.
Oh, geez.
So they weren't going to do that.
Sure.
And even going up to say like 96 would have made for some really weird looking stuff. So what they did was they said, okay, it's going to be a 64 bracket, but what we'll do is for the last 4 spots, the last 4.
Right.
So
We'll have
61, 62, 63,
Right.
64, those will play, there'll be a play-in. Sort of like the wild card spot in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
It's a play-in for that. So
Right.
these are
So there's 8 bands or 8
Yeah.
or 8 records, 8 teams.
Yeah.
For these remaining 4 spots.
Yeah, 60 are
Understood.
locked in, and these final 8 were the 8 that were right outside of that 60.
Right.
So in
got a
terms
ton of
of
votes, just not enough to make the top.
Exactly. We're right there.
60.
So
Got it.
I have another question.
I have another one too.
please.
Moving forward,
Losing all my
fans
breath.
Yes.
will decide the actual outcomes of each bracket.
Correct. And the way that's going to work is that
That was my other. Can I have a piggybacking question?
yes, please.
I'm a fan of the podcast. I'm
you.
not going to see the entire 64 record field. Is that correct? All at once?
Not yet. So, great questions.
Thank you.
Let's answer Patrick's first one. Right now, just for the purposes of getting this bubble going and to have this episode and to just make it a little easier and ease you guys in,
We're the NCAA.
we're the NCAA. We're deciding these last 4. We're deciding these matchups, and it's going to be, best of 3. There's no way that the 3 of us voting can end up in a tie. So from here out, you will be voting. Let me implore you: do not quick trigger button your vote. Please, that defeats the purpose of what we're doing. I don't care if Fury is your favorite band and you think they're going to win. I'm not saying you have to listen to Paramount again.
Is that your jaw?
You can. Yeah, he'll pop that.
Wow,
thing.
man.
I'm not saying you have to listen to Paramount again. Hey, maybe it's a nice time to revisit and see if you can give some nuance to why you like it. What I am saying is whoever it is that they are quote unquote up against, whatever record is being voted on between the two, give that a hard listen.
Yeah.
And see what you like about that. So you'll be voting about this. The way that we talked about doing this is we'll be on a Monday. Say this is a week of Mosh Madness. We're going to post what records are going to be discussed on Monday. So you have a little extra time to talk about it, think about it. We're not going to post what the matchups are, but we'll post what the records are. Tuesday, when typically Axe to Grind episodes are released, that week's episode, we will talk about the records. We'll talk about what we think. We'll talk about what we would vote. On Wednesday, we'll post individual polls on Twitter. You know why? Because Facebook polls are terrible. So if you don't have a Twitter account, you can go there. If you want to do a write-in, we can have a write-in. We'll figure out a way for you to do that. But we'll post the poll on Wednesday. It will be a 7-day poll, so you have time to listen. Because we're going to do it in groups. There'll probably be 12 records to listen to in a week. That's a lot of records, but you're going to get basically from a Monday to the following Wednesday. So like 9 days to listen to 12 records.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Right. So now we're doing, for people that know March Madness, there are like regions.
Yeah.
We're not doing regions, clearly.
No.
But we will.
It's in the same
have-
bracket format.
Right. So there'll be the first round will be 4 separate shows. Is that correct?
Four separate showdowns.
4
between-
or 5 because it's 32 total matchups. So if we do 6 into 32 is just over 5.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there'll be,
So
this 16. Oh, so we're not doing it.
unless we could, they'd probably just be a little longer, or we would talk a little less.
Right.
We want to give it room to and we hope I think you're going to really enjoy this. We all really dove hard into these records to talk about,
Yep.
and that's one of the things that we really enjoy about this is listening to records and thinking about them, talking about. So that's going to be fun. How it's going to split out on episodes, we don't want it to feel overwhelming. If we did each region, there's only 4 regions, so each would be 8 records per region, or 16 records per region. So
right.
we couldn't do that in a single episode.
No,
Talk
it's
about
true.
16
Fair,
records
fair.
That'd be, or without really being concise. 3 opinions on 16 records.
No, fair.
So we'll probably do between 6 and 8. We're going to get the logistics, but those will be the ones that are up for voting. You'll have a full week to cast your vote. Maybe we won't even put the votes up on Wednesday. Maybe we'll put them up on Friday and do it for a shorter amount of time. But we really want to encourage people to listen first and then vote.
That is the purpose of the exercise, people. It's to check out the records,
Yeah.
not to. There's no real victory here except
No.
for a little statue that we give away.
Yeah,
that is-
that hopefully they can throw away or keep whatever
right,
they want to do.
and so it's perfectly worthless to win this thing. What is of value is you familiarizing yourself with albums that you either didn't think to listen to, didn't imagine was in your fucking wheelhouse.
Revisited 6 years later, I was like, yo, this is good.
Yes.
Why did I forget about this? Oh, why did I only listen to this once? Because I think that happens a lot. It happens to us.
Yeah, and I think if it's fucking easy enough, we could have given you 64 records and be like, check off the ones you like.
Everyone could have picked, and everyone would have had their favorite, and everybody, and that's
would've been
not
boring.
that fun. It's not fun. And so listening to the records is the really fun part. Now, that goes to Tom's question. You're not going to get a bracket right to start, because I think just because this is the way these things are, your natural inclination would be to fill out the rest of it and
Right,
pick your
get to
favorites.
the end.
Because,
Yeah.
and I know ain't none of y'all listen to all 64 of those records in one day. If you listen to even half of them in one day, bless up. You're not doing it.
Yeah, go take a nap.
We're going to reveal the regions as we put the
them.
questions out there. So then by the end of the first round, you will be able to see the entire bracket. And then if people want to have extracurriculars on this, they can, because then you'll at least have listened to all these records once.
Okay.
You know, and that's where it'll be kind of fun, and those episodes will move a lot quicker than the first round. First round is going to be the heavy listening, and then we'll probably touch back into it and talk about it. Bands, don't catch feelings, as we've discussed. You want to promote this? Please do. Why should you promote it? You're not getting anything because people are listening to your records more. People are going to go check it out, and that's just one of those things. Like
Right,
I
if
think
you
there's a
wanna,
lot
like,
of people who are excited about it,
I
and
know
that's
some of our friends from the Oklahoma, Texas area that retweeted some stuff because they wanted their shit in there,
and it got
Got in.
and it worked.
Competitors,
I love it.
champions.
and you know, so feel free to go.
Champions.
Go any which way you want with that, but like the thing for us, it's a cool engagement piece. This is fun. We're having fun with it. It's fun for you, and we did like look, if people start getting weird about it or hostile like to each other, even we'll just pull the plug and we'll move on to the next one. We'll pretend this shit didn't happen. I don't think we'll have to do that. I think
No, I
everybody's
think
going to
people
get
will
it.
be legit.
I hope we didn't just spend the last 20 minutes talking about this for no reason. But any other questions so we can keep the like, let's go, Crystal.
I think that's pretty clear.
And you know what? We'll do maybe we'll do a very brief write up
Yeah.
Yeah.
of this sort of stuff, so you can get the rules, get the scheduling down.
Yeah.
This is going to go on
For a couple months.
for a long time.
Because we're not going to do these. Oh, also, that's an important thing. We're not going to do these every week. We will probably try to give you an alert, and you'll know it when we post it. We'll post it up on all our socials. So if you're not following us on Twitter, follow us there at Axe the Grindcast. If you are on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/Axe the Grind Podcast. Maybe we'll even start an Instagram, because this could be a fun visual thing, and
Sure.
that can give you another place to follow. So if we do, you'll see all that.
But I mean, this could line up to end
In March?
with the
Right
Final
around,
Four.
yeah, it might. Well, I don't even know. It might not end with the Final Four. I'm even even if we're, it could end then. I'd say our projections would be it might go up to March, but it won't be every week. Just so you guys know,
No,
this will be like
this will not take over the show.
it'll be a regular thing. At
least monthly.
maybe we'll probably do 1 or 2 in December and then 1 or 2 in January. We'll see how it all lays out. But it's not if you're don't give a shit about it. God bless. You can still listen to these episodes and hear us talk about records.
Yeah.
You get the
I mean,
same
that's
shit.
the fucking crux of the thing. All right. So let's jump into these bubble. And for those of you, actually explain what a bubble is for people that know nothing about sports.
So exactly, we kind of talked about the last. There's seeding. So the way a tournament would work is the number 1 seed in a region would play the quote unquote number 16 seed. 2 would play 15, 3 would play 14, 4 would play, and so on, up until the 7th seed plays the 8th seed. In this, the final 4 spots in the tournament proper are being played into, which is called the bubble, because these teams can, with a single elimination, which is what this whole tournament is, get into the tournament or be left on the outside.
Right.
It's really, you're still in there. You still take a badge of pride for being listed and being voted on, and to be honest, I really think that any band who's got a record in here should be really excited because there was no hidden agenda from the people who listed them. There wasn't people just trying to shine their balls on. This was people who just thought, hey, I'm listening to my favorite records.
Yep.
And here it is. So you guys ready to dive in?
I'm ready.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to just read. I'll read the...
Now think of all the hardcore records that have come out since 2010.
Jeez.
I don't want
If
to.
you're... Yeah. That
this-
means you're one of the 68 best hardcore records.
Or most loved.
Most loved, even
Most
in
loved.
this,
Yeah,
or
most
at
loved.
least
I
in the
think that's
conversation.
fair.
God
Which
bless.
is pretty... So even if you
notable.
don't make it past this bubble round, you still
Yeah, I
stop
mean,
68,
Still a winner.
man.
Yeah.
Still a winner. So, all right. And I'll read these and then we'll dive into each one. Code Orange Forever versus Praise. Lights Went Out. Whoa. Regulate In the Promise of Another Tomorrow versus Day by Day Nowhere to Run. Angel Dust Extra Raw versus Renounced Theories of Despair. The Beautiful Ones Jaded Love versus Bitter End Illusions of Dominance.
Tough calls, all 4.
So all right, let's get easy. We just listened to all these records. I was familiar with I knew all these records existed.
Yeah.
But a couple I haven't listened to more than once. A couple I was very familiar with, and a couple I had no familiarity with at all.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was surprised and impressed with some of these. And
Yeah.
So yes, fair. I knew every band. I couldn't say I was familiar with every release.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not. I won't speak for you guys, but I know that there was a couple that didn't tickle you at all. I was largely tickled.
no, good.
I was largely tickled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
couple that
too,
didn't
actually.
hit me.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I was,
all right.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
Didn't want to speak for you.
Let's start with the. You going to start right at the top?
Let's do it.
Code Orange Forever versus Praise. Lights Went Out. All right, let's talk about the Code Orange record. Mm-hmm. It was shocking to me that this was not in the tournament, the top 60, but that's, I think, largely people were just picking between I Am King and Forever.
Yep.
And I think largely people were picking I Am King. I think Forever's a better record.
So do I.
Yes. And also, you got to think, hardcore kids voting on this.
Yeah, that's true.
Hardcore kids, to a point,
Want to
might have turned their back a little bit.
Well, they want to stick their flag in the hardcore release, not the Roadrunner one.
I mean, let's be realistic. What was the other one? The first record that
Love is Love.
I know a couple people that ride hard
There are
for it,
people
but
who ride hard
I
for
think
it.
it was. I
I'm
think that's
sure.
I
for
haven't.
sure.
I can't. I'm curious about when we get to that one.
I'm sure, but come on.
That's it. Come on, is
Come
the right,
on.
come on is the right thing to say.
This is you're obvious. There's something amiss. That if
There was people planting the flag and saying, "I Am King" is the record, and then Forever wasn't the redundant sequel to that, and so fuck this record.
So I get thinking that I Am King is a moment because it was, and I get that. I really do. I'm of the opinion that Forever is ultimately a better record, though.
Yes.
So that's where I'm coming from.
I put upon listening, I'm not a big Code Orange fan. I think this is their best release of the stuff. I still don't love it.
but you can.
But they're competent.
Yeah.
They're so super competent and talented in terms of performance, in terms of what they can do. The fast parts on this record are few and far between. When they hit a fast part, they do it very well.
Yeah.
Right.
Jamie Morgan is a great has a fast beat.
Yes.
And that's something that
and not a cheap beat.
not a cheap beat, and not you find it with metalcore drummers, you find it with bad punk drummers. They just will have a cheat. He's got a great galloping fast
Great
beat.
drummer.
So that was impressive. I feel like when they do that stuff, it makes them stand out more than what. I feel like there were more fast parts on this than I Am King, though I didn't go back and listen to as much of I Am King to reference against. But I feel like they stand out more with that sound than when they don't do that.
Okay. My feelings on this record is it achieves the thing that some Code Orange haters are going to fucking now scoff. I hear you scoffing.
Scoff.
It's more cohesive. That's it. And I understand that people don't
You
want
think it's more cohesive than I Am King?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know that Code Orange detractors never want to give them cohesive because to their ears, this is Dillinger Escape Plan music that has no transitions and just irritates them.
So here's my question, because this is an interesting part for me and part of my complications with the record. They go from the song "Real" that you're familiar with,
Yep. It's real now, motherfucker.
and I would put that song firmly in like a industrial metal hardcore whammy jam.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Into Bleeding the Blur. Dark, melodic, post-wavy music for people in black shirts.
Yep. A lot of black shirts.
A lot of radio rock.
Into
It's a great song.
very good song. The New Reality, maybe?
Could be.
Maybe something like that. But I know those two songs were back to back. I didn't. If you say it's more cohesive than I Am King, I'll go with that till we revisit. I didn't find it a completely cohesive listen, though I was, and this is one of the parts I was looking for, because when they're on their more aggressive tip, it's just not all that appealing to me. I'm not that into metalcore. I'm not that into industrial. So I was looking for what the threads are in those music genres that make the through line. You know what I mean? I wasn't, even while looking for it, I didn't always feel it, but I could just be missing something.
Well, so on I Am King, a major criticism was these songs have no transitions. It's part.
That's what you mean. You mean internal consistency.
Yeah.
Per song. Okay, so I was
not
talking
from
about
song to
album
song.
flow. I'm talking album flow. I think there's a few examples of poor cohesion, but that I'm chalking up to genre piece.
Right.
I'm chalking that mostly on this record up to like industrial, and that's a choppier music form in general. If
Well,
I'm,
you can lay down a groove certainly, but this is of the abuse, release, abuse sort of thing going on here, right? So it's a lot of ear hitting, a lot of kick you in the head, and then for literally a second of air, and then back to a variation on head kicking.
Right.
And
you can find some rhythm in that with some bands, and I think metalcore bands who do that well are the ones that I would lean towards being the top of their genre. But it was like the commentary I levied at Earth Crisis, where I'm like, I don't know if these dudes have a sense of rhythm. Like, can these dudes
Can't
go to
dance.
the club and dance? When you hear Code Orange dudes do the songs like Bleed in the Blur, I'm like, oh, these guys got a sense of rhythm for sure, But
here's a bit of a hot take. Jamie, with his threats of I'll never be your friend again if you share this with anybody, sent this to me a tiny bit early.
I thought you were going to say something really bad. Like, I'm not going to be your friend if you talk about me anymore.
No,
Yeah.
and I mean he probably thinks that, but
That's all right.
So I heard this ahead of a lot of people, and he asked, "So what do you think?" And I said, "Look, Bleeding in the Blur is going to be it for a lot of people.
Yes.
But I don't need that from you. You know what I mean? I like these heavy tracks. I like real. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's what is exciting.
For each of these records, I went through and picked out what I thought the standout track was, and I said that. But with Code Orange, I picked Bleed in the Blur. It's like track 4, maybe. Mm-hmm. But then as I listen, I'm like, that's not fair to this record, because I don't think if you're picking a standout track, it should at least represent the record on a whole. And I came to the realization that 2 I picked out for it. I picked Bleed in the Blur, and then I picked maybe the new reality or maybe real. But I said with Bleeding the Blur, and I asked what would a whole record like this be, and because you could do Bleeding the Blur, Ugly, and then the last song Dream 2 all have that same feel and could be an EP on their own,
Right.
like that. So, and I say this as an admittedly like non-fan of the music, but I really wanted to listen to this and give it a hard ear. Those songs could be on their own, and I would listen to that. The other stuff, it's not a genre that I'm looking for, but it's clearly well performed, you
Gotcha.
know? But that's the thing. That's the other part of it is they're making that conscious decision to have all those elements in their band.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. But I mean,
Undeniable.
right, doesn't that fit to what they're trying to... They're kind of trying to make their own lane. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think that's the goal, and I think most people say so far pretty good. On the other hand, praise.
Oh, well, we didn't get much Tom. I want to get some Tom.
How you feel about this record?
I really like this record. I think it's a better version of I Am King.
That's how I feel.
A little bit more, like you said, more cohesive, more musical.
You're saying cohesive. You guys kept saying
Internally cohesive.
per songs. Okay.
Yeah, not riffarama. I feel
there-
like I Am King is like part, stop, other part,
Like,
weird transition.
Are there heavy? I don't think I would say for Forever. It's unfair to call that like beatdown. And I Am King maybe has dwellings towards some of those things, tendencies, but I don't think you necessarily call that beatdowns either.
No.
But stuff that's on the heavier side. Do you think that album flow from song to song is as important in that genre? Like when we talk about hardcore LPs, you both on the side of saying, "Yo, it's really hard to write a good LP," and then us all collectively talking about like a flow of an LP can kind of matter
See,
in a listening experience.
Here's the issue. I think that this type of music. I know that Code Orange does care about how their records
As a flow,
Yeah. They're that into their shit, right? So like
Clearly, that's one of the things I'm looking for. Yeah.
tracks like Bleeding in the Blur are really tricky to throw onto your record because if you throw it at the end, it could
get lost.
People could look at it as toss on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Add on or toss away.
Right, exactly. And or they could see it as a very tasteful outro. You know what I mean? But that's not what you want people to treat it like a potential single. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So it's got to be 2 to 4.
Yeah.
Or interlude. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like and the ones I can think of that do that well look at it like that. You know.
So I think that if we're talking about cohesion of this type of music, granted, there's not a ton of this out right now, but let's just say heavy,
Yeah.
heavy with other elements. I would actually, outside of Bleeding in the Blur, which could be just like throw some people out of off the game.
Well, I'm talking more from the heavy track to the next heavy track. I'm not trying to do that. I don't.
I would say that there's
Yeah.
a better flow, and this
Okay.
is me comparing it to chaotic music, right?
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
So like if you listen to Nail Bomb or Car Bomb
Yeah.
or this. I mean, this sounds much more like a record.
I mean, if you compared it even to something like that, here's Collective record,
This is much more of a record, yeah.
and it's more. There's more cohesion track to track. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I
No.
thought it was-
Yeah. No, I just think it's a better record. It's one of my favorite records of 2017. No, it's super heavy. It's really well done. It's ignorantly heavy, and that's not always what I go towards. And
Yeah.
I feel like
For you to occupy that space and still have me excited.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's it's one of the bigger records. If I had to guess in the last 10, in this,
Oh yeah.
right?
think-
I mean,
I don't think there's an argument. Is there a record that was quote unquote bigger than it last year? Maybe the Power Trip record, but that's it.
Yeah.
but I'm saying like in the last
10 years.
10
Yeah,
years,
no.
the biggest 3 records have come out this past year and a half.
That might be true. You know what?
Well,
We'd have to look at that, but
TY.
Bigger than Turnstile, Power Trip, or I don't think so.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe.
You know
I don't
what
know.
I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, if we wanted to get numbers, we probably could.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
Right,
You're
maybe not even, but just like feel.
Yeah, no, it feels pretty big.
You know what I mean? Those
Feels-
3 records feel pretty much bigger than anything else.
No,
going.
that's true. That's true.
That's true. I like going by feel. So
Yeah.
The reason I was jumping to praise is because
Yeah.
whereas Code Orange, we could say definitely listen, people at home, you can think that they blaze their own trail or they fail to, but they are definitely aspiring to. Meanwhile, praise seems to
Very comfortable to follow.
to look backwards. You know
Well,
what
so
I mean?
let's give the preface too. This is Praise's first release when the lights went out.
Sounds
not,
right, yeah.
not the first. They did a single before this, I believe. I think this is their first LP, but this was big. It is to form.
Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. necessarily.
No, we talked about it's the best and worst thing about hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Code Orange, to a discerning, for someone who's got more historic knowledge, you go, oh, I see this.
You get the
or I can hear
references.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a disembodied, ish part, or this and that and the next thing. I feel like if that same kid listened to Praise, they would not get the nods and the winks.
Really? Not today you speak of. Yeah.
Yeah, like the kid that loves Code Orange.
Oh, yeah. If you're comparing the kid, like the 2018 Code Orange listener.
Or even the more like the kids that voted for I Am King over Forever.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they'd go like, oh, Dick Nasty.
Or Embrace, which we
Right.
pointed out a couple direct rips.
Yeah.
Which was tough for our man over here.
What,
struggle.
Revolution Summer?
It's a struggle.
Kindling
Yeah,
already?
well, and so I enjoyed the Praise record.
I liked it.
It's in my wheelhouse of stuff. This was the first time I sat with the whole record and listened to it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
You want to know why? Is that I had the single. I thought it was good, but it's just good. Their stuff was all in React Records, and I'm not throwing shade, but I had certain assumptions about what most of it was like, and I knew that this band wasn't like that. But it just came at a time where I was doing other things. I was busy in life, and so this just kind of wasn't on my radar all the time.
And I got to be honest, along those lines, around the same time, all these bands came out with names that all reminded me of
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
So I think of
Give.
I think of
Praise.
Learn.
Yeah.
I think of Praise. I think there were a ton of bands.
The dude from The First Step did a band, Post First Step, that was a single word name as well.
Also, so you said Learn, you said...
Give, Praise, and...
Is there a... you said Go It Alone. Did you say Go It Alone?
I didn't say Go It Alone.
Okay, because there's a Post Go It Alone band that is also...
A one word.
Oh, that's Devotion.
Devotion.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like those bands, at least for me,
Yeah.
kind of got muddled together.
Yeah, 100%. Especially some of the regionality there with Give and Praise didn't help them. And I think this band's sound stands on its own. Peace was the name of the dude from the First Steps band. Peace. Very short.
Right.
Right.
Cool single. I think maybe also on React.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I actually really enjoyed the record. I thought
Is this not?
I don't think so.
Our neighbor's being tickled.
Your neighbor smokes so much weed.
Is that true?
The whole house smells
absolutely.
like fucking doob.
Yeah, when you
Mine
walk
does?
into your not
Not
your
there.
house. When you walk out into the vestibule here.
Oh,
My God.
I didn't notice.
It's impressive. Like
Crazy.
impressive amount.
Yeah.
they're,
Copious.
they're giggling.
God bless. So my thoughts on Praise were that it sounds like the things they want to reference. And I thought of the thing that you say, Patrick, often is that when a band starts with a genre in mind of what they're doing, that you're not going to like their first couple efforts, but you might like where they end up getting to.
Right.
These dudes were going for melodic hardcore of the DC variety, the Revolution Summer stuff, throw in some 7 Seconds,
some Bold.
throw in some influences of the late 80s. I heard Bold, I heard a little Instead, I heard
Yeah.
I actually heard a little bit of the First Step, which is, partially because of a more modern, cleaner guitar production, some of the build-ups and the intros to songs. I thought it was strong, and I think it came out at a time where it's easy to get grouped in.
Mm-hmm.
Give is a melodic band; they're a hardcore band, but I think it would be difficult to say they're a melodic hardcore band
Okay.
in the traditional sense.
Sure.
You certainly that's where they fall, but it's the same thing as like I was thinking about genre with a lot of the stuff we listen to, and we'll get there. But like Fugazi, what are they? Are they a hardcore? They're a hardcore band, I guess, because you have nowhere else to place them. Are they more of a hardcore band than an indie band? I don't know.
I would just call them the most bare bones alt rock act of their era.
Right, but it's like it almost feels
Yeah, no.
hard to call them that
it's right
because
on
of the
line.
form.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's the kind of thing where I think Give kind of falls into those weird trappings too. But Praise is clearly a like melodic hardcore band. The standout track to me was "To Be Me," like some real heavy lyrics, and like just really, I can tell this is there's some tough lyrical content on here, and if you get a chance, I hope that you dive in and listen to that.
Sure.
And yeah, I think they had that song in the America's Hardcore Comp that impressed all of us, and I think they've just gotten better with time. So this record, listen, made me curious to
When
listen
did
to
this record
it.
come out?
I think
2014.
yeah.
And this, okay. Oh, so they've been pretty active in the last couple of years.
I think it goes up and down. I think they do what they can because
Like
I think they're all,
release-wise, though, I mean.
yeah.
How many records have they had?
So they did. The band started, I want to say 2010. It looks like.
Yep. Exactly. I had a note down. This is the band who should have toured with Have Heart in 2010 or
Yep,
11.
yep.
Unfortunately, Have Heart broke up in 2009.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I was like, wow, yeah. I was going to make a self-defense took their spot joke.
Yes, I was too. Then they've done since then a couple releases. One 2011 was a single. 2014 was this record. It appears that I don't know what the Mosher's Delight release was.
It's like a cassette, I think.
And then there's Leave It All Behind.
Yes.
So Leave It All Behind I thought was very well done.
Yeah.
This record I don't like very much. And to me, track 2, I want to say, hit me in the face where I immediately said, is this Give Me Back or is this Do Not Consider Yourself Free? I scanned my Embrace mental
hard drive. Like
yeah,
cassette
hard
gun,
drive.
yeah.
The first part of that song is the lead in to Give Me Back. It's the start. The start of that song is Give Me Back. It maybe is like an octave higher or something. You know, like,
So-
it's the same.
Got it.
With that in
It's the
mind,
Judge part, but they did an Embrace part.
with that in mind, I mean, you know, this sort of thing. If it, like I said, if this was Youth Crew, I wouldn't care at all that it's referential. You know what I mean? Not at all.
But you're like, they're referencing stuff that you hold dear.
So
That I hold dear.
it's the conversation we kind of led into is that like, and you've talked about otherwise. I am picky about stuff that's like Youth Crew style hardcore because I'm so into some of it, and the best of it I think is fantastic, and then the second tier stuff can be pretty good, and the third tier stuff I'm still familiar with. And then the fourth tier stuff I think is really, really fucking bad, but I know it.
It's
and you might end up there. Exactly. And so you're feeling that here, and you don't always feel it with Benny bands.
No, and
Because there's not many bands who go to your soft spot.
there's
like
no
this.
fourth tier of this.
No.
And there's no even third tier
Yeah.
of this. So on one hand, I want to like this band for having the exact same interest that I do. You know?
If this band has existed in 2005 or 6, you likely would have been pretty happy because you maybe had a band to go tour with.
Absolutely, and
It would have pushed you.
it sounds absurd. Yes, that's true, and it sounds absurd for me, a band that started by ripping off Embrace, to be mad at a band for ripping off Embrace. But I'm in a different place in my life, so I don't particularly need this.
And I think these dudes wouldn't necessarily take that as criticism because it's the record that came out
Exactly.
4 years ago. When
Exactly.
they were
and
trying to get
I
their shit
like their
together.
last record.
Yeah, and I think the single on America's Hardcore, like,
Yeah.
I think their best record is in front of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
You know, and I think that's all you can ask for as a band is that people aren't looking at you and going, yeah, that record from 4 years ago, that was your
Yeah.
best shit, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
for sure.
So when you listen to it, anything else that kind of struck you?
No, I heard a lot of huge DC like Dag Nasty influence. I thought, like I said, bold, like, you know, that weird super touch bold kind of late 80s.
Yeah, that's actually the
sort of.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it's melodic, really.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is. It absolutely
I don't
is.
think of Bold as a melodic hardcore band, but they kind of are.
They have guitar parts, especially when they get to the later era stuff, for
Right.
sure.
When fucking Capone is just ripping.
And John Biv for Supertouch doing the same.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like you guys said, like, this is very competently played. I mean, it's a good record. It's a very good record.
yeah.
But like you said, I think their more current stuff is that much better.
What was really interesting, I got to say it to Tom, was that there was actually a couple parts, both vocally and in the guitar sound, where I thought there was elements that reminded me of Dag Nasty 4 on the Floor.
Yeah.
Tom is one of the few humans on the earth who I can have conversations with about Dag Nasty 4 on the Floor.
I like that record.
I know you. I literally I can't think of 5 other people I can talk to about
Are
it.
we like posing hard, or are we like just ahead of the curve? on
No,
that?
I don't.
It's a good reunion
Probably
record.
ahead.
I think it's okay.
I mean, I'm not saying
No,
it's
but
like fucking everything
but
sucks.
it's like
But
92. It's a weird time. It's a record that I think there's people who like Dag Nasty who who haven't heard it more than 5 times. You know what I mean?
No.
Because and it's now available on streaming, so you should check it out. I still place it behind the first 3.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but I mean, I bet you like it more than Field Day. You know.
Yeah.
Well, but anyways,
Yeah.
I heard elements of this, and it was just these dudes are steep. They really know what they're doing, and they have their best record from. I enjoyed it. It was a cool listen to. I wonder a few things about it. I think I saw him at one of the Youngblood showcases. Could have been 2011 or 12, something like that. The only reason I know it wasn't 13 because I think I had a kid already. So, or it was before I had a kid. So I think that they are a band who, when we've talked about like the death of melodic hardcore from Trapped Under Ice, these dudes are bros with Trapped Under Ice.
They're Baltimore, right? DC.
Yeah, the Baltimore and DC. The drummer of Praise is the drummer of Turnstile.
Right.
And the drummer of Angel Dust.
Yeah.
So yeah, Defang. So
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So like these are of the crew, as to say.
Yeah.
And we've discussed that we think that they're up. It's your turn. Praise.
Yeah, yo, take it. I'm excited to see what they do in the next year because I really hope that means a new record. And this was a good one. So let's break it down. Code Orange Forever or Praise Lights Went Out.
I'm giving it to Code Orange.
Give it to Code Orange.
And because this is being voted by your personal taste, I'm voting Praise. But that means Code Orange moves forward.
Okay.
Kudos, everybody. All right, next one. I hope you guys enjoy this. I love talking about music.
Yeah,
I think y'all like it.
It's okay. I'm kidding. I love it.
Tom's just here for the gossip.
Give me more dirt.
Regulate in the promise of another tomorrow.
What a bad title. I don't like that title at all. Sorry. I'm poisoning shit, but that's too, I don't like that
poisoning
title.
the well.
Sorry.
Verse Day by Day, Nowhere to Run.
Okay.
Let's start with Regulate.
I was shocked how much I like this.
You thought me and Tom undersold it too.
I did. So when this came out, did it come out at the same time as Blind Justice, or did they just do some
Shortly
shows?
after, something like that.
So-
and they're intrinsically connected.
Right. So these bands were connected in a lot of people's minds, and I've heard a lot of comparison or competition between the two releases.
Even though they're literally like brother bands, share members and all that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
But yeah, but it's
Same label.
You're not gonna. Yeah, they're gonna get compared.
right. And my circle was telling me that the Blind Justice record kind of overshadowed this one.
No matter the cost.
And I didn't give this a real shot. You know what I mean? I heard the single. Damn, it's the one about
48?
the cop. No, is that right?
There's a couple. They did a couple. I think 48.
And I liked it, and I thought they were doing a lot of weird stuff. But listening to this record, they do so I could hear somebody here. I could see somebody hearing this and going, "Yeah, they kind of lean to the same thing too much." You know what I mean? Like there's a gimmick to this, in my view, right? And
Okay.
and that is what makes the band, this album, really charming to me. Is that for the vocalist Seb to do his thing, the music has to do something kind of specific. I don't want to say unique, but it's very specific. It has to chop in this very
It's
unique
choppy
way.
in a groove way.
Yeah, and so that's what it has to do for him to do him. And
And he's a strong vocalist, so you want him to do him.
so to me, I'm listening going, yeah, I could understand where somebody would say too much of the same. It goes back to that same well, and over and over again. But that's the band, and I'm okay with it. I actually really like this release.
Yeah. No, I was excited that you were psyched on it. I think this record is one it's caught me recently. There's been a couple records that I've felt this way, but I said it when I first heard the record too. I think this record picks up steam at the end of what would be the A side, and then the B side is fucking banging. Like the end of the second half of the record
is the strong part.
Just like it's like Juggernaut.
Would you
shit.
reconfigure?
I don't know if I would. I don't know
No.
because I don't. The other side is you don't want songs to get lost, and the first couple tracks aren't bad.
Sure.
I just feel like
It just gets stronger.
Yeah, there's the song Character Actor, which
Character Arc,
where for lack of a better term, the band just
They're
is
going
like,
in
yo,
their turnstile.
here we
bag.
are, we're going in,
They're singing.
watch it, and they do a thing that I don't think people would have thought they would do,
No.
and excel. And the only things I'll point to is this is a band who before maybe it's right around the same time their 7-inch came out, or maybe it was right after their 7-inch came out. They throw up a band camp of them covering Bad Brains' Sacred Love.
And killing it.
Killed.
You can't
killed
cover
the
the
track.
Bad Brains.
Killed the track.
Yeah.
They did it because they have the chops. And I think they were like, yo, we got the chops. Let's do this.
Yeah.
They have they're the reverse of a lot of the criticism I level at a lot of heavy bands is like, I don't hear the rhythm, I don't hear the groove, I don't hear the bounce, the low
Yeah,
end.
that's
they
all
got
bounce.
it. They got it. And I think it ends strong. I think they are daring. And I think Seb is an interesting vocalist and lyricist.
I honestly, I think the lyricism is underrated in this band.
I think nobody talks about it, and it should be.
He shoots for things and occasionally hits.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
He goes big. He's like unafraid of a lot of lyrical
Right,
levels.
exactly.
And that's
Doesn't mean it's always successful, but it means
he's taking a shot.
Yeah, and it's good.
Which you respect, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he goes big. The last song is the song I picked as the standout, though there are a couple. It's Indifference and Defiance, and it's like a straight edge song.
All right.
I think it's really cool. A sun that won't set, a fire that won't die. Something, it's like he goes in and he's talking about things, and I respect the lyrics. I think it's cool. I think that there's
He's a smart dude.
Yeah,
And he can run fast.
and the record is just musically super competent. And
Yeah.
you said you didn't want to call it unique, or it is unique. I don't think there's another hardcore record that came out in the last 5 years that I can say sound is like this.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that kind of does it for me. I don't know if there's I couldn't point to too much that reminded me of this, despite the fact that it's not reinventing any wheels. But I really thought that the vocal combination. I'm trying to think. Maybe there's something from like the very late '90s that I could
I
find.
used to District 9.
You know what? That could be. Yeah. Okay.
Like kind of that.
I could hear
that.
yeah, rhythmic kind of.
I don't know. I'm trying to think, but I got a kick out of this one in a way I didn't necessarily anticipate.
I like the mix on it. I like the production levels. I actually thought
They do Wild Arctic?
I thought, huh?
They go to Wild Arctic? Or was
The
that-
one up in New Hampshire?
Yeah.
With Dean.
So, yes, that didn't...
Bon Justice recorded right before them.
Right, same spot.
Yeah,
Got it.
same spot.
Okay.
They, I think that the drumming was really well done for this kind of record, because you have to be good to pull this shit off.
Yeah.
You have to be able to really do it to be this level.
They're a very competent musical.
Oh my God.
And
I
he's
think
a great
that-
singer, and he's a good front man, very good front man, and
Anything else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
a lot of groove to it. Like you said, there's fast part. It's
It's a very New York record too.
yeah,
You know what I
very
mean?
very New York, and I feel like it's kind of been overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
For probably a myriad of reasons, to be honest with you. But I feel like it's really easy for records to go away when the band isn't that active.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
they
feel
did
like-
do a big tour with Terror earlier this year, full US.
Was the record out though?
It was right before the record.
How much? If they've played
Or
10
maybe it was
shows
right
since the
around-
record
yeah.
came out, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I think this is.
Dudes get jobs, dudes get on the bands. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and it's understandable. But it's like it's really easy in 2018 for a record to kind of go by the wayside.
Oh, we've seen it over and over this
Yeah.
year. We're going to talk about that at some point, probably in our year-end episode. But it still made this list. One of only a few 2018 records. that
Right?
made
Oh
this
yeah.
list.
No. Yeah, of course.
So there's a lot of love for it. Out
Absolutely. I mean, could you imagine how much more love? Like, I feel like if these motherfuckers and goddamn Blind Justice could get on the road and
Well,
play,
because the other thing is, I think anybody who sees this band it will tell you how superior they are live.
yeah, both.
I think they're-
honestly,
yeah,
Blind
no.
Justice as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Now let's compare this to another band who is frequently regarded, both on this show and in general, as a superior live act. Day by Day, Nowhere to Run.
Is this the 2018 record?
2018
We should give the
record.
dates, like
Yeah,
if we can.
should. Okay,
the
let's do it.
years, so you
See
could
if
like
yeah.
This is Day by Day. Which one?
production pat.
Nowhere to Run. This is 2018.
This is the secret release. This is the drop.
This is the one that just dropped.
This is the Drake release.
Came out shortly before You and I Blood, I want to say.
the Friday, the Thursday.
Something like that, yeah. I think the Tuesday it
Was it
hit
even
so
that
people
about-
could
yeah.
hear it. Like online, they put it out there.
Yo, I want you to think about how generic both Day by Day and Nowhere to Run is. It's not making it easy for me over here.
Was it on 86th?
86 records, yeah.
Okay, so Nowhere to Run is 2018 on 86 Records. That's true.
I think this is best sound they've gotten so far.
Yes.
That said,
Still not there.
Hurts a little bit. Like if they could get their live vibe on a record,
oh my god,
it'd be a whole nother story.
So let's not parse words. This is the band who we think if they got put in the right studio could write a record that would shake a lot of people up.
Yeah,
and
I mean, this record is an improvement on the first one.
Oh yeah. They've done a few things. This is their best sounding stuff, and actually, as you get into the record, I think it kind of pulls together more, which is
I
an
can
odd
see
thing
that
to
his
say.
voice gets changed a little bit.
His voice changes a little bit, but then the guitar sound is a little tighter. The mix gets a little better, which is something I hear
odd.
on some records, and it makes me crazy
Yeah.
that the levels will be high early and then even out, which I think is and I don't want to. I don't think that's necessarily true here, but it felt as though it evened out a bit. And maybe it's just listening and getting more used to it. This is a band who has a highly localized sound, too, that I don't know all the reference points. I think what are the easy reference points? Dude's voice is super unique. It gets compared to VOD.
I can hear that.
In the negative, people compare it to Brothers Keeper.
Oh, it's
Do
not
they?
that.
It's not.
Come
Yeah.
on, I was
People
around
kill
for
it.
Brothers
People
Keeper.
try
It's
to
not
kill it.
Brothers
It's no,
Keeper.
but-
You lied.
What's Brothers Keeper? Like,
No.
like barking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
want to
what.
take away every chance I have to win.
Fuck, okay.
Julia
It's not
Child
that.
sings for
Yeah,
Brothers
exactly
Keeper?
right.
That's amazing.
And I'm a fan of some of that late material.
Give me 2 weeks and I'm out of here.
Wow, we're both really bad at this. Mike,
That was fucking.
Mike Ski respect because you do something that
I
Tom
think
and I
Mike
can't
Ski was
do.
in the building right now the way I did that shit. Go kill JFK. Or whatever
Yeah, I'm
the fuck.
getting chills from this.
Right?
His vocals aren't that, and I think
No, it's Tim VOD.
No, it's VOD.
It's Tim VOD, and I've said that musically it reminds me of VOD, and people balk at that. But here's what I here's
Well, hardcore VOD.
yes, but
VOD has no hardcore.
But here's not no hardcore. Here's what I'll say. To me, this takes all the VOD parts that a hardcore kid might want to listen to.
Yes, that I
that's
can
what
see.
that's
Sure.
what I
Okay.
think. That's what I think that this band does.
I think what's interesting is my favorite track was the song "Authority Complex." I liked it. I just thought it, and it's less chaotic than some of the earlier tracks on the record and some of their other stuff. They're a band who I think more is less when I hear it. The song structure simplifies on some of the songs towards the end of the record, in my opinion. And it just is a more is less situation where I'm like, I feel the song more and I can hear what's going on. It's a little more straightforward. And that might just lean into my taste harder. Let's be real. But I also, we talk about it on the Air Force J episode. We're going to make that stick. The blatant localism, they're like heavy. They have a song SFLHC, South Florida Hardcore, and it's talking about the struggle of being a band from a place like that. Like, despite the fact that Miami is
Popping.
God, is it the top 10 U.S. city? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most populous, but it's got a huge population center.
Not a
Not a place, for hardcore that's always been there. And these people have made it a place, and they showed pride with it. And the lyrics are cool on that song. Respect to you guys for doing it.
You know what? There's an analog, which I don't even know if they might not even know about this band, that we can listen to once we're done.
Sure.
There's this band called Overthrow from Long Island.
Yeah, familiar.
Kind of the same vibe. Like it's a more like hardcore VOD. They have like fast hardcore parts. VOD does not have a like they don't.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist to VOD. But Overthrow had those kind of parts.
That's interesting. That would be an interesting because I hear the VOD like somebody
vocally.
said Marauder, some Marauder-ish parts.
I could hear that too. That's what Jay was saying that.
I'm trying to think. I think that he was big up in their drummer, and I would love to hear them in a studio where when they hit a fast part, it hits speed. You know what I mean? Because they're kind of in the mid-tempo-y sound, but compared to a lot of bands right now, like if you were to put them on a heavy hardcore tour, they'd seem like a fast hardcore band.
Yes.
Right.
But when they play with fast hardcore bands, they
seem
kind of
like the
hit the
beatdown band.
mid-tempo.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Which is
they're
cool,
heavy.
too. Yeah.
And live, this band's been a phenom for the whole year. So
Yeah.
props to them.
They're coming up to New York soon.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Day by Day?
No, just that I think that like a few of the bands we've talked about, they're better materials ahead of them.
Agreed.
Yeah, and this is the band. If I ran, if I ran Bridge 9, I'd reach out to Day by
Absolutely.
Day and say, we want to get you to a studio.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I forgot about that Overthrow. overthrow. This is the worst album cover I've ever seen.
What's it
I
called?
hate it.
Which
It's
record?
React. It's the one on Triple Crown Records.
Oh, yeah.
I hate this album art so much. Holy fuck. I forgot. It's such a
Patty Case triggered.
it's such a low effort fucking
I forgot they were on Triple Crown. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it
They
was.
had a minute, I think. All right, so let's talk about this. Regulate in the Promise of Another Day versus Day by Day, Nowhere to Run. Don't get mad about the title.
These are both terrible titles, so
I know you are.
it balances each other out.
painting you.
Yeah. I'm going Regulate.
I'm going to go Regulate.
I'm going to go Regulate. Regulate.
Regulate moves on,
on.
to
All
the
right.
field of 64.
Bow, bow, bow. All right.
We'll be back. Channel 2 News.
CBS. Angel Dust. Extra Raw versus Renounced. Theories of Despair. First international entrant.
He doesn't catch feelings on theories of despair.
Oh no, we're getting there.
I would only like it if the fans were like, oh, you know what record I love? Todd.
Yeah. Dude, Todd is so sick,
Yo,
bro.
that Todd record though, damn.
Yeah, look, I mean, Forever is also. I hate the title. These are all.
What's the best title we're talking about
I
today?
kind of like Illusions of Dominance, but
Illusion
that's also
Dominance is good. Jaded Love, I don't think is terrible.
I like Jaded Love.
no, it's okay. Yeah,
The Lights Went Out is a little on the generic side.
I kind of like Forever because like that's their like
yes. I
Code
mean,
Orange,
it works in that
Forever.
respect, and Illusions of Dominance only works because it works perfectly with the album art. You know what I mean? So.
We got to talk about that album.
Oh, you don't like it? It wasn't sexy enough for you. You're gonna say it's like the Cold World record, right? That
the
just didn't
Blacklisted
grab
record.
people. Or the Blacklisted. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. Go on.
muted tones.
Let's go back and talk about.
way back.
Where do you want to start? Angel Dust or Renounced?
We can go Angel Dust.
Let's do Angel Dust. Extra Raw.
I feel like Bob is telling us a scary story the way it's lit right now
Well, 'cause I
it's
have my
from the
phone
bottom. It's like
Yeah, for people at home, we're sitting in actual darkness.
So
true psychopath.
this is the weird. I'll put my hood up. I do one. My father did a video when my sister was young, and I was probably 7 or 8, where he read scary stories with a flashlight like this. And I think it still exists at VHS at my house, and it's fucking hilarious. It's him being like,
I can't really get it.
like reading, but he wasn't reading scary stories. He was reading children's stories in a scary voice.
That's
like,
cool.
Berenstain Bears went to them. You know, it's
Nelson Mandela.
all right. So let's talk. We're talking Angel Dust. Extra Raw.
I got it, dude.
Berenstein.
You got it.
Did he look scary?
A little bit.
All right, good. As long as I'm not looking fat, I'm fine with that. I ate a lot of pizza today. All right, so
We're gonna start an axe to grind exercise crew if anybody wants
we're
to be
starting a
down.
basketball team. We
I'll
need to
play
do that.
basketball. I ain't afraid
let's-
of it.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do it. I'm psyched. We just need somebody else in New York. Come up. Ryan Honig's out, so too
It's
busy to drive.
$60. I got friends.
All right,
Brian Aldi's like 6'9". We got a fucking center already,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
taller than Brian.
Brian Aldi's taller than you.
No,
That dude's like 6'5".
he's 6'2" if he's a day. I'm taller.
Maybe he's like wrestling.
Wait, Bob,
like,
what are you? You're 6'3"?
I'm just, like 6.
could be a point forward,
people who
though.
are 5'10" like to tell me I'm 6'4". I'll say that. I'm
Okay.
6'2"
Okay.
out of shoes.
Okay.
If I'm in big shoes, I'm like 6'4".
If he's in Gene Simmons shoes,
if he's in
like
creepers,
6'8". Yeah.
If he's
right.
if he's
No,
he
it's
steals
something,
Siv's
it's something.
creepers.
So I'm taller than the average dude,
Fair.
but yeah, like, but I'm at the point where like I'm a legitimate 6'2" with no shoes.
in
And
Civ's,
so
in Civ's creepers.
Civ's creepers, I'm
like
Shaquille
7'1".
O'Neal. In normal, you know, like the sneakers, the Nikes I'm wearing today,
Like
I'm
walking around
6'3".
shoes.
I'm
Okay.
6'3". Dudes who are 6 foot ish love to tell me I'm 6'4". Love it. Because then they're like,
That makes
no.
them taller.
They're like, you're clearly that much taller than me. So if
Yeah.
I'm 6 foot, you're 6'4", and you just wave them off. 6'5". I have a friend who's 6'5". That's
substantial.
the height where it gets hard. That's the height where
That's
things
like
get
the
Yeah.
tipping point. Where
That's
it's
the
like,
point where
this sucks.
when you walk through a normal height door,
You gotta
it's
scrunch a little bit.
you're not right, but you
But you gotta
feel
think
it. You
about it,
feel it.
yeah.
You think about it. It's close
I
enough.
mean, even
It's
like
that-
think about that on like a fucking airplane.
it sucks, dude.
I'm like
mine-
I'm 6 and I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I have to kind of squeeze to get under.
All right, so let's talk about Angel Dust. Who you start us off, Tom?
Oh, cool. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Didn't thrill you.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get why people do, and I get the whole like skate rock, skate punk kind of stuff vibe that they're going for. Just does nothing for
All
me.
right,
Like, nothing for me.
Let me frame it out, because when it first came around, I really didn't know what to think of it, and
I hated the name.
I didn't hate
I
the
like the name.
name.
Angel Dust.
I like the name.
I thought it was gonna. I think when people,
I thought it was gonna be like thugged out, fucking
Yes,
like
when people-
trapped under ice on steroids.
it was gonna be either oh shit, this is more Crown of Thorns than Trapped Under Ice.
Yeah.
Or it was gonna be like Hazen Street.
Oh no!
It went more Hazen Street than it did.
So here's how I'm gonna frame it, because this is the way I wrapped my head around it and went. What band was I talking about? Oh, it was Culture Abuse. I talked about that Culture Abuse Bay Dreams. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. That doesn't mean it's bad. And I kept thinking about it. I'd listen. I put it on a like sunny day when I was on a long drive, probably up here, and it was sunny. I had the windows down. I'm like, oh fuck it, I get it. This is just fun driving.
Right.
All right, fine. I'm bopping. I'm good. I framed it in a way that I was like, all right, I get it now. Angel Dust. It's the big sigh. It's going. It's the ultimate freeing band. These dudes didn't have any shit to prove. And it's the anti-Trapped Under Ice. It's
I can see that.
dude going, Trapped Under Ice had expectations. It had a sound. We had things people were looking for. We were heavy, especially the precedent he set with some of the lyrical content early. Like I think Trapped Under Ice, we talked about Sub being underrated as a lyricist. Justice is underrated as a lyricist.
100%.
Absolutely.
Underrated. And I think he gets a lot of credit for a lot of things. He doesn't get the credit he deserves as being a great lyricist. And especially that early stuff he made, writing some sad songs seem gnarly and hard and also just well done.
Absolutely.
And our friend Pat Flynn gets recognized as a lyricist all the time. George gets recognized as a lyricist all the time.
Justice doesn't.
Well deserved for
Sure.
that. Justice deserves a spot at that table.
Oh, I mean,
But
I'm
this,
a super fan in that respect.
But this is him just taking the belt off and be like, let me fuck around. This is
There's a song called Jean Shorts.
this is the cheat day. This is going.
This is Muscle Dog
I
having
eat kale all week.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, I'm having a fucking ice cream cone covered in sprinkles and JoJo's. Like, let's go.
What are JoJo's?
You never heard of JoJo's?
No.
All right, JoJo's are the real joke is Jimmy's or sprinkles.
Yeah.
You can go up. This is shout out Andy. When we were like 15, we realized you could go up there and say, point and call those things anything you want.
Anything. Yep.
And go, oh, give me some of them
dibba-dub-
shirts. over
dibba-dobbers,
there.
yeah.
Give me some of them drapes.
Drape.
I know.
And so I say JoJo's.
Oh, so this isn't a thing.
It's a thing only for
To
me
you.
and my friends.
Got it. All right.
It's
Okay.
deep
So I was
inside.
like, fuck,
So I
I
go,
mean,
chocolate
very
JoJo's. Give me some of the
convincing.
chocolate JoJo's. And everybody goes for it. Like, you were taking that wholesale. You didn't
Yeah,
care. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, oh, I know what you mean. Ice cream cone with some chocolate JoJo's? Yeah, all
we're
right.
not going to go down this route, this lane, but I feel like there was something about Jimmy's that was not very politically correct.
Is
that right?
Here's a Jimmy joke that you might not like. See, I heard you.
That's true. That's not
I stole
very
your girlfriend like I stole your bike.
So
Pass joke.
So Angel Dust Extra Raw. I was not. I listened to this
Extra
record,
Nonplussed.
and you know what? I was listening to it. I'm like, you know what? The things I'll say about it. It's punk after hardcore. This is a band using hardcore song structures, doing things that skate punk bands wouldn't do, but trying to siphon all that energy and fun from that music
on,
through
man.
the thing. There's choppy parts. There's like mosh parts, the
Yeah.
bouncy back and forth parts
Yeah.
that you just don't hear in. You're not
In
putting on
Jodie Foster's Army.
JFA
Yeah,
or
yeah.
even shit like Token Entry. You're not hearing those kind of
No.
parts. But in this, they strain it through. I think the production is wacky, but that's part of the package. That's what you're getting
It's
with
a
Angel
wacky
Dust.
record.
And it's the heavily affected vocals,
Yeah.
heavily affected all this stuff. It's drenched in reverb. And it's supposed to be. Like, this is them doing, like, hey, we're going to do this fun punk band. If you see it live, it's infectious.
Sure.
If you hear it on record, let's go there, Pat.
Firstly, Jimmy's. I just read about what you refer to.
That's true, right?
It's not true.
Oh.
It's not
Did
true.
you go to Snopes? What happened?
Yeah.
Did you really?
I just looked into that. It's not true.
Okay, I heard it had some like negative, somewhat
bad Jimmy
racist
jokes.
connotations.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Let's go JoJo's just to be safe.
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah. That's good.
JoJo's
Maybe if my Italian friend is offended.
There
by
you go.
JoJo's.
JoJo? JoJo's not offended.
So the question was.
JoJo wants a meeting.
what works and what doesn't about this band and why? Is that essentially what we're
We
driving
all know
to?
it works. It's fun as fuck.
It's fun as fuck.
In live setting, it's fun as fuck, and you can't deny it. You can
So-
listen to the records and deny it for sure.
Yeah, was this record denied when you were listening to it?
Oh yeah, so I was playing it this morning, and
That's called prep, fellas.
it's prep. Amelia comes
Prep,
in
sweetie.
and says, "Oh, I don't like this," and I said,
Demonstrative, like, I do not.
Yeah.
Amelia likes fun. She loves
"She loves fun. She loves fun," and I said,
Fun? I love fun too. That band.
"Great band."
We are young.
Wow, I did not know. I knew Fun was a band, and
Fun,
I could
period.
not.
You know that song?
I couldn't name it
That's
like
the
the
song.
song.
They got 3 hits, man.
That's,
I ain't
that's
gonna
like
front.
a fucking Coca-Cola video.
Oh yeah,
commercial song.
I feel like that's one of those like things that they put through like the machine, and they're like, "Here's how you can make
Yeah.
a hit."
I think
hope,
you're right.
I hope they're in jail now. She comes out and she said, "I do not like this," and I go, "It's Angel Dust," and she goes, "Oh, that's so odd. I think they're great live." And I said,
They are.
"I think you just dialed into
Exactly.
how a
problem.
lot of people feel here." But so here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
This record, cut into the core of it, didn't thrill me except for exactly what you said, which is you can hear Justice really having a blast in a non.
With no expectations. In the
Yeah,
background.
yeah. In a
It's a-
non TUI sort of.
And I'd say this is a breeze to listen to. You can, if you listen to this and you're in a heavy mood, maybe you will be mad. You're like, "Fuck this dude and his fun." But otherwise, it's a Smartie. Smarties aren't my favorite candy.
Oh, I like Smart.
Yo, you don't know.
You don't even think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, aren't there 2 different kinds of Smarties?
I couldn't say.
I think there's Smarties that are like Beauchamp M&Ms from the UK.
Oh no, see,
No,
I'm
They
not-
come in that
about-
tube.
I'm talking about the
the
tube.
ones in the roll. No,
yeah.
but the one you're talking about, not the tube. You're talking about the ones that are in that.
Yeah,
Plastic,
the
yeah.
the
That you gotta
plastic
unwrap.
Yeah, and they're like basically just like a weird
Like,
sugar that.
yeah,
breaks-
Yeah.
sugar in disc form.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I like the last Angel Dust record if it's the
Rock
blue
the fuck
one.
on.
Rock
Forever,
the
yes.
fuck on.
Okay.
And that's on this the tournament, and
Okay.
I like it significantly more than this record because
Yeah.
you can hear they found their chops.
Yeah, and this one it has nothing going for it except for energy, in my view.
And I think it's
feels
also.
really-
I think it's tough. I think, and you might be able to even hear it. I feel like as someone who never sang in a studio before, you can hear him like he's not totally comfortable with like singing melodically.
Oh, singing.
Yeah, and I wonder
that's,
about that.
That's tough.
And I wonder if that
But
maybe
he's gotten
impacted
better
some of the
over it.
production. He's certainly gotten better.
And live, it doesn't matter if you're off, but like on the record, it's kind of like, oh, this is a hard listen.
I'm off by a wide margin live.
But that's your deal.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But if you're playing like
60%,
melodic punk kind of stuff,
Yeah, I don't know. So my thing is that this band got a lot better after this record, so I kind of don't understand why this record made
Yeah.
the list. You know what I mean? Like,
I think maybe because it's so fun, and I was surprised that this got name checked over the AD record. And maybe I think AD got
yeah, I
name
would
checked a
think
few times.
AD is definitely better.
And
than
AD's
this.
got the hit, the big hit.
Right.
You let me down.
Yeah.
you build me up. Don't
You
let
know
me
what?
down.
I don't know if I've heard the studio version of that. I just know that from seeing them live.
So
Yeah, and the videos of everyone singing, which
Yeah.
is
so
fucking
listen,
cool shit.
whoever suggested this, fuck them, because the other 2 records are better.
So, but I'm going to say that the best track is either Slam, which is literally him talking about needing to slam,
Yeah,
Like dance or
like dance and
yeah.
like mosh,
respect
and
respect
jump
to
off
that.
stuff.
Respect to that.
Or the song Sleepwalk, because the song Sleepwalk actually shows hints of what they end up doing on AD and then certainly on Rock the Fuck On Forever.
What is the most ridiculous title on that record?
I mean,
Jean Shorts.
Jean
right?
Shorts. And Jean Shorts is the song I used as saying like this is punk after hardcore because there's the choppiness in that song.
Okay.
Is that's something that's coming from hardcore, not from any sort of punk root stuff.
Jean Shorts.
So Angel Dust is up against a very different record, Renounced. Todd. Theories of Despair.
From the UK.
from the UK.
When did
International.
this record come out?
Let's see.
So when did Extra Raw come out?
I want to say 2013.
Yeah,
That's just off the top.
off the dome.
So Holy Roar put this one out in 2016.
Oh, shout out to Holy Roar.
Yeah.
Exclusively distributed in the U.S. by Deathwish Inc.
That's right.
So you should check out some of
Boom.
their stuff. Yeah.
This is a hard-working UK label, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, they grind.
So here's the deal. This is very well played throwback metalcore. Mm-hmm. And
Roots. Shiraz 2013.
there's a lot of things that could mean. This reminds me a great deal of Poison the Well style metalcore.
I could hear that. I can do that.
What did you hear? Because
It just I heard the 90s.
okay.
Can
I heard like the
No, go.
No, please.
I heard a synthesis of all metalcore up to this, all metalcore, metallic hardcore, and screamo elements from all of that synthesized in a coherent way.
Right. It wasn't like, oh, this is like like you couldn't listen to that and be like, this is a Buried Alive cover band. Like I think they did it so well that they had aspects of all the things that Bob had just mentioned. And I mean, it's all very familiar, but it's not so clear that you can be like, oh, that's a Turmoil part. Oh,
Right.
that's a
18
fucking
Visions
Damnation
part. There's
or
a
whatever.
Cave-In
Yeah,
part. There's
right.
this epic Hydra head sound to some of it.
Right.
As a dude who's not a student of that stuff,
Yeah.
I think these dudes clearly were, and did the thing that we talked about with genrefying stuff, where it's like, yeah, they just took it and took influence from a lot of this and kind of like, oh, how can we make this our own? And
Right.
I
can see that.
I was impressed.
I liked it a lot.
I mean, it's just fucking good at what it is, right? Like, if you don't like this type of music, you're not
I
gonna.
don't.
Yeah. Oh, so did you like it or not? Like
I
it?
was impressed with it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how often I'd go back to it. Like I said, and the reason I picked out a favorite song was so that I could have something to tell people, like, maybe check this out, even if you don't think this is the band for you. The title track, Theories of Despair, I thought was cool. My comment on it was, as a metalcore band would do, there's a lot of double bass on here. That song specifically has a sharp, like, post-hardcore vibe almost to it. I think if it's not the last song on the record, it's one of the last ones. And I said, what would this sound like if the drummer was less enthusiastic about double bass? Just because the singer's got a ranging vocals. He does a bunch of different stuff, but none of it that feels angular in the place it's at. You know?
Well, I should say I know a little bit about this band, and I can say that they are, they have a professional approach, and it's evident in that everything that they try on this record, they pull off. So it's different than the Angel Dust record completely in that respect. In that Angel Dust is a lot against the wall, and some sticks, some doesn't. Right? This is, you could say, safer, although that sounds like an insult. You know what I mean? But like this band knew that what they were doing at any given time was going to work, whereas I feel like Angel Dust was on a plank at all times.
I think there is a shared intentionality to both. I do think that Angel Dust had more of a throw it against the wall in some of the
Like, it could go off the
elements.
rails.
But like, I think they were very intentional about the style they were going for, and I think that's the shared thread. Renounce definitely sounds. Is this the best production on a record that we've heard?
Well, no, that Code Orange record is fucking big sounding.
It's big sound. I didn't think it was.
I mean,
It's a different sound. It's a different sound.
This is very well produced.
Like, I was
Yes.
really impressed. with it.
No debate.
So
yes.
yeah, I don't know what else was I thinking about this record. It's a metalcore record, but tasteful in a lot of ways. I think that they did a really good job, like I said, of synthesizing so many pieces. Yeah, I see why it was big now, why it's been big, why this band like got pop that many UK or many European bands for that matter
Just don't,
largely
yeah.
of this sound don't hit the US market the way they perhaps could if they were from the US.
Right.
So they're not around anymore, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they broke up.
Yeah. So
They definitely. Sorry.
no.
Can you hear me, Pat?
Not really.
All right. They popped off. I know they popped off for sure on one of the earlier FYA fests.
Yep. Them and Ex Repentance X came over.
Right.
We played
People
with
were
Ex
excited.
Repentance X in London.
That's right. Okay, so this.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's true.
There's a-
That FYA people were genuinely excited. Yeah.
Very genuinely excited. So that's cool. I think it's cool. I was actually excited to see it make the list because I don't know. This is one that feels like it may slip through the cracks.
Yeah. But fans of like, look, I know that there are a lot of kids who claim to be fans of things like Poison the Well. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of kids who are younger than I think a Poison the Well fan should be, who believe that is a cool influence if you're into metalcore.
100%.
I don't know. To me, I was very split on Poison the Well when they were a band, or maybe they still are. I don't know what the fuck. But I didn't
They've
love.
done some shows. Vadim jumping in there with
Yeah.
I didn't love everything. You know, I'm not a big Poison the Well fan. This does that style of metalcore, that era of metalcore, very well.
What are the sonic influences that you could name on this? Because I named a couple that I thought, but like, are there like I'm not super familiar with Poison the Well other than
I heard, you can hear like Turmoil. I think
Turmoil's a good sighting. Yeah. Like Turmoil's a band I go to because I'm like that's a band I like, and knowing my leanings or my druthers towards metalcore, they're one of the few that's like clearly like this is a metalcore band and I like them.
Yeah,
like, I like that one Turmoil record a lot actually.
Yes. Well, that's like a very heavy, chaotic record.
To me, that's an extension off Rorschach.
Yes,
100%.
I agree with that. Yo, Poison the Well hasn't put out a record since 2009.
Yeah,
they're not together. They just do shows every once in a while.
Is that true? Okay,
Yeah, that's
I didn't
true.
know.
What was the last
Dude's
record?
been busy with
Tropic
sleigh
Rock?
bells.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yo, dude, legit, you would like the latter day Poison the Well stuff.
I don't know. I've heard this about acts like this. I'm not sure.
No, dude, I know. Do you like Opposite of December?
I like two songs a lot.
Okay.
Nerdy's good.
You put that shit on some mixtapes. I know.
I'll listen to
Oh,
Nerdy
good.
right now.
Yeah, we can
Nerdy's
if you
heavy.
want.
Nerdy's heavy.
It's not.
Yeah.
But I think some of the later Poison. I came around to it because I got Vadim to send me the set list, and I was like, I'm going to learn some of these songs because I don't want to sit here like being like,
Only
we're
waiting
playing
for the old
something
song.
off of fucking Tear from the Red. And I listened to it, and there's some fucking really good songs, and people get real bummed when they play them.
That's a band who their Opposite of December is the peak, but then there are people who are like, no, but Tear from
the Red might be bigger.
Do they have a record before Opposite of December?
Yes,
Do they?
Do they have a winning streak?
Oh, they've got a.
they do not.
No.
They had a second.
They have two.
An
They have
acre
back to
lot.
back.
Yeah,
I'm not giving them that. Yeah, they do have a single or an EP rather.
What's it called?
Distance only makes
That's
the heart
right.
grow
That's
fonder.
the one. That was a.
They
Decent
might not. They might have the two singers in that.
Oh,
There were two
Interesting.
singers at one
A
point.
lot of fucking shirts with that
Interesting.
printed on it. So, anyways, Poison. Well, after that though, after Tear from the Red, people sign off.
Because they got weirder. They actually got better.
yeah, but
But-
it's not a better than anybody wanted.
No, people want fucking mosh parts and sing-alongs, and they don't have that anymore.
Right.
All right, so let's vote.
Yeah, renounced. Theories of Despair. Now that we
Todd.
called it Todd, I'm going to remember the title forever. Angel Dust Extra Raw. Ooh, I got to think about it still.
I kind of I have to, even though I said that I wasn't crazy about the Angel Dust because I like the later material so much better, I do have to think about it just because I like the ambition of the Angel Dust record. You know what I mean? Like, I do.
All right, I like the energy a lot on that Angel Dust record, and I'm going to pick the Angel Dust record.
I'm probably going to go Renounced at the end of the day.
I'm going renounced.
Good. There you go.
Okay.
Renounced moves forward. Props.
All right,
guys.
all right, so you like the Angel Dust really going for it.
I do.
What are you more likely to listen to tomorrow, renounced or Angel Dust?
That's why I went Renounced.
Renounced, that's what I figured, yeah.
And I actually, you know what? Of the records that we listened to today, of the stuff that doesn't float my boat in a heavy way, Renounced is the one I will go revisit more because
I was very happily surprised with that record, dude.
I think it probably deserves, and it was, that record is what year's Renounced?
2016, did you say?
2016?
Yes.
That might have been
It
their going away record.
I think it was, yeah.
And that might be a record that people should, not saying that they will, but should look back on because there's been a boom, a renaissance of metalcore, metallic hardcore, whatever. And I feel as though a lot of it that I've heard, it felt really redundant and boring, and this didn't.
No, exactly.
So,
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Props. Okay.
All right, so far we have...
So far, we have Code Orange Forever, Regulate in the Promise of Another Tomorrow, Renounced Theories of Despair, and we have one more to make it in.
All right, the last of the bubble.
The beautiful ones, Jaded Love, Verse, Bitter End, Illusions of Dominance.
Let me start. I didn't know shit about Beautiful Ones. I was shocked at how professional this record sounds.
It's really good.
I was shocked.
Was this lost on everyone?
I think it was. Did it come
Largely came out on 6131 Records.
out?
Sure.
So 6131 Records is a really good label that has
When did this come
moved
out?
away
2015.
moved away from hardcore.
Yes.
Yes.
So-
They put out this little artist, Julian Baker, and
Right.
Made a couple of bucks.
So
Put out some culture abuse.
put out some culture abuse.
So with
Touche?
that,
Touche
yeah,
early.
yeah.
First Touche record to the beat of a dead horse. Yeah.
So they didn't want to put out hardcore band anymore.
right, and
Bad
well,
Seed, of course.
I think they figured out that they are very good at putting out a particular type of music, and so they started doing that. And Rotting Out, they put out the first Rotting Out record. But anyway, the point is that
First couple.
This may have come out at the actually.
This came out right before. This is 2015. I think this is right before Julian Baker. Or
I
right
think
around then.
both of the records that we're talking about for this bracket
2015
came out on the wrong label at the wrong time for these particular releases.
I don't disagree.
So,
But
Both excellent records.
yeah, the beautiful ones, band from Arizona.
Oh,
Interesting. How many bands do you know from Arizona?
Groundwork,
JFA.
JFA,
The
The Bled,
Step Forward Records is from Arizona.
King of the Monsters. I got nothing.
Yeah, there's a couple. Winds of Promise. No, Winds of Promise is from there. Winds of Change is from Arizona. Last Option, Arizona
Okay.
Straight Edge. Okay, but
Dig
the
deep.
beautiful ones record.
Dig deep.
Jaded Love. And I don't say this in a negative way. I really don't say this in a negative way. Are we sure this is a hardcore record?
Yes.
Broadest definition, I think.
well, if you told me that it was a post-hardcore record, I'd say okay. If you told me that it was not hardcore, but whatever that other thing is, that like Only
Could it be
Living
metal
Witness,
altcore?
Yeah.
That's the part that I want to clarify. Because from a dude with my leanings and interest in hardcore, that could sound like really dismissive or a dig.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant that way at all. This record and others like it, like we don't call Typo Negative hardcore.
No.
Only Living Witness,
Yeah.
maybe.
It's in the maybe, but like
This is very, yeah.
this is this world, and like Code Orange isn't, and they don't sound like this. Twitching Tongues is, but isn't, and it's a lot of like.
I mean,
and that's the thing that brought me to Fugazi, because I wanted
Right.
to use an example that wasn't of this, where it's like Fugazi is a hardcore band for lack of a better term.
By ethics
Ethics
more
and
than
by
anything.
what they do, how they carry their band, the shows they play, the places they play, the bands they play with, which all matters.
Yeah.
You know, but
I mean, Twitching Tongues in a strict definition is not a hardcore band.
Right.
right.
If you're really thinking about it.
And I would say this record, which I don't dislike, I actually liked it and was like very surprised. Life of Agony, to me, there's arguments to be made, like the early stuff, hardcore, but then as they move forward, like you said, demos probably, like
Yeah, the demos when they were like a sheer terror tribute
ripoff.
band.
But
yeah.
then River Runs Red, like it's like metal, but metal's a broader topic. That's an interesting thing. Metal as a genre got broader as it aged, and so has hardcore. But we almost like is this metal altcore? Maybe.
Well, I mean,
you know?
Life of Agony would never be like, yeah, we're a Brooklyn hardcore band.
No. And Typo Negative wouldn't say we're a hardcore band for a second.
No.
And the beautiful ones, like they have some leanings. They certainly have parts that make the sound hardcore. But like there's one, the production. Two, this dude's voice. He fucking can belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
This, I feel
shit.
like, is as close to... All right, so, Twitching Tongues, obviously named after a Only Living Witness song. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is even closer to Only Living Witness.
I agree.
I was super stoked on this record.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. I love the cover.
Oh, just kind of the simplicity of it.
Just like the Jaded Love on like kind of...
Under a spotlight kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it was like, maybe it was like... on
a wall?
Yeah, or like on a screen of some sort, and all you see in front of it is the microphone.
Yep, that's right.
The Beautiful Ones is a fucking Prince
Yeah.
song.
I think that all of this hurt them.
I would never have guessed if you showed me that and you go, tell me what this sounds like. Never would have guessed it sounded like that.
If you see their merch, it's much more leaning into hardcore than you'd think. They had shirts that were like camo with a like varsity font that says "The Beautiful Ones Lover Stomp" in like a smorgasbord arch style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. However,
From that, you would.
oh yeah, you might, but and then also playing the shows. It's the thing we took issue with. Like I said, Twitching Tongues, your path forward is to go play the Ghost Tour and be theatric and lean into your heaviness and your eccentricities.
Yeah.
This band, like the production on this record and the sound on it, on a lot of parts made me go, I wonder if these dudes are fans of the early to mid 2000s EVR catalog. Because it's got that big, clean production. Dude can go from very aggressive vocals to singy-ish.
Yeah.
I mean,
just like Jonah Jenkins from Only Living Witness. That's why even it's like his screaming voice, or was kind of Jonah.
I think his screaming voice is fantastic.
That's fucking great.
Like, holy shit. My comment on this. Let me find this, man.
Now, are they playing?
So here's an interesting thing.
So there's elements of like Alice in Chains on this. Like
I can see that.
I think all these bands that want to sing on any level secretly are Alice in Chains super fans. Yeah, like it's
like
in the
Lane
DNA.
Staley shit. It's because it's
Nobody
just
can do it, though.
No one can do it.
Jerry and Lane together, boy.
Except maybe that one dude who the dude who's singing for them now.
from Black.
Except for that guy.
I said the best track was Bloom and Destroy because I thought it showcased a little bit of everything that's going on this record. I've had friends who typically, like dudes from the Shore originally, who are not necessarily, but they fuck with Only Living Witness, fuck with Life of Agony, fuck with Type O, who were like, yo, they did an EP recently that they really fucked with. That was like, one song was super heavy, like this record, like kind of Only Living Witness style. One was like almost ambient or like shoegazy, and then one was like a hard song.
Wow. Okay.
So
they're still going.
Check this
Mixed.
out. Check this out. This record came out in 2015.
Yes.
I never gave this. I never gave this a shot.
Nope.
And the album art to me is a little bit alienating, despite its professionalism, which is part of maybe why it's alienating, right? Like you don't know what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's ambiguous, which seems the intent, but also it's not ambiguous in a way that pulled me in.
Right. And they did release an EP in 2017.
The Beautiful Crew.
That I don't know anything about.
That's the one
and
I was talking about.
Oh, okay. That's the one I'm going to check out.
I think if you like, we all like this record, right? Like I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence.
You're not sure if you like it.
I'm not sure I like it. I was impressed by it, but I'm not sure I like it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm going to go listen
Now,
to Beautiful
here's the
Crew.
thing I'm curious about is if I'll go back to this in any way. Because when I listened to it all the way through several days ago, and then I went back and listened to a couple tracks. I'm like, all right, like if I'm being honest too, like I said that question about the EVR catalog because
What's the mid 2000s EVR?
like to
Bear
me,
versus Shark kind of shit? I
that
have no
kind of
idea.
like, but Fear Before the March of Flame, like it's a lot of stuff I'm not
Fall of
familiar.
Troy and all
Circa
that.
Survive, Circa
Right,
Survive's the
Circa.
only one that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, me too.
But like that level of cleanness in the music and production, like this is a big room record. This record is.
This is a big room record. That's why it's kind of. I don't know what.
I wonder what they're. We need to send Day by Day to the studio where these dudes recorded.
Yeah.
Well, yes, actually. You know what? If Day by Day recorded in this style, Day by Day would be courted by EVR, which I don't know. I don't know if anybody wants to be courted by EVR, but like they would be in a different space, no doubt.
I put a record out on EVR today. Hi, Steve.
Oh, I mean,
I'm just trying
I
to
would too.
not get-
Yo, we want to do an extra grind release on EVR. Let's fucking go.
Actually, you
Can
know
we
what?
put out a 12-inch of an extra grind like episode?
Well, we're doing the cassette. I'm doing that. We're gonna record some shit and then throw it on a cassette and sell it at Generations.
That's a great idea.
like a demo, the extra grind demo.
Yeah.
If we could prove that we would break even and not cost him an hour of manpower, I bet Steve could be talked into something.
Shoot us an email.
Okay.
Extragrindpodcast@gmail.com, Steve.
I mean,
Share this EVR, guys.
we couldn't cost him an hour of.
I know. The email will take. We'll. If you send us an email, we'll PayPal $3 to EVR right as soon as we get that email.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm going to check out Beautiful Crew because I don't know how I feel about this band, but I'm fascinated that it didn't pop in the way that I think something this big sounding should pop.
Do we think this band was influenced? I think this band was influenced by Twitching Tongues,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't
The
think
first
so.
because the demo is 2011.
which is pretty parallel.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitching Tongues starts 2008, 9, 10,
And
somewhere in there.
is this a Southern California band or not?
Arizona.
Oh, Arizona, we said. Right.
I'm thinking it's
Right,
too referential to Only Live a Witness. I think
Yeah,
it's just
maybe it's kind of coming.
sa-
It might be the same
well
boat. Yep.
and not the. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I am totally up in the air on how I feel about this.
Interesting.
So
What's the conflict?
everything was there, but do I care? You know what I mean? Like
That's gonna hit though with this listen through. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like,
for sure.
And also
there's-
a lot of records.
yeah.
Yeah, the re-listen is.
Like, well, firstly, this is not a style that appeals to me. You know
No,
what
I know.
Like,
I'm not. I'm admittedly not a fan of much of this, but I actually found myself drawn to it more. Maybe because I've avoided some of it. Like maybe this is the thing that makes me go, all right, gonna do my Only Living Witness revisit because I haven't in a decade.
It's coming out if you want it on vinyl.
I need to listen to it first. I don't know that I need to own
Think
it.
Fast is reissuing it.
Really?
Promotal form.
Interesting.
Wowza. Okay.
I think so. Jay, Reason, and Ryan O.
Oh, okay.
I honestly
All right.
think it's one of the best album titles ever.
Promotal form.
Yeah, I love it. I don't love the band, but I love that album.
What's
Dude.
the say promonal form? Prone mortal form.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I know what words you're saying,
Yeah.
'cause I thought you were saying
For some reason, I
promonal
was saying
form.
it strangely, and I couldn't come out
Because
right.
we've been talking for like 6 hours.
Prone mortal form.
My favorite art.
It does sound like a fucking D&D move.
I love
Oh,
it. My favorite.
someone has cast prone mortal form on.
Brutal Truth, Need to Control is the best album art plus
is that
title.
is that the face with half a face, half a monkey?
No, that's Sounds of the Animal Kingdom.
Need for Control is that crab based culture. What the fuck is the crab thing?
Need to Control is the prone mortal form. It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
the man that is bent over in like what seems like either supplication
Yeah.
or
Submission, yeah.
and it is the combination of those two things to me is just so fucking vivid. But prone mortal form is another like very evocative title to me.
Yeah. Good title.
But okay.
A record that I do think all three of us will probably revisit.
Yeah.
Bitter End, Illusions of Dominance.
Okay, so I've been riding for this one. I don't want to say that I was ahead of any curve, but it's been in the ether that I think this is woefully underrated record.
When does this come out?
When did Try Me come out? It came out on the
Yes,
same day.
yes, it did. That's true.
You share promo posters
Is that true?
With who?
with Bitter End, Illusions of Dominance.
And who?
Self-defense.
Self-Defense Family, Try Me.
Weird.
Which record do you like better, Tom?
Sorry, buddy.
It's all right.
I do really.
don't know if
I
I've
actually
ever heard
really
Try
do
Me.
ride. I ride for Try Me.
I think Try Me's really good.
Really
But so this was
Best of
2015.
their time frame. 2015. There you go. Yeah. I made a bold statement on the Air Force J episode. Is Bitter End the best New York hardcore band in the past 20 years? And it's hard because they're from Texas and now all over. This record, if you like, I said this is like well crafted in an artisan way. Like these dudes know New York hardcore inside and out. They know 80s metal inside and out. They know 90s metal and hardcore inside and out. To use every tool in the box without you thinking that you're gonna have to using every instrument in the kitchen without you having to do a lot of dishes. It's amazing. It's
I feel like
great
in
record.
that way, it's akin to No Warning.
Yes, yeah.
Like
It's
in the just like it's New York hardcore, your own little kind of spin on it, but it's like you can hear
You hear it.
the references, but it's so their
but
own
it's
thing.
it's not stealing the give it up part from Judge. It's doing their own thing. Like it's not
Ken,
lifting.
but I think Daniel's vocal delivery,
Yes.
love it.
Yeah.
Is this his best vocal performance? Maybe
It could be.
Could be.
But
Like,
I mean,
I
he's
was
got like the
thinking about
Billy
that.
from Biohazard kind of like. But I just love that and it wasn't like, hey, I did that on one record. That's how his vocals are on every record, and they're so good.
And I think when you talk about a band who has this is their third LP, right?
Fucking A, man.
So it's Bitter End. The first LP is Climate of Fear. Second LP is Guilty as Charged.
Yeah.
Third LP, Illusions of Dominance. One, great job with the titles.
Yes.
All work. 3 words. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
When you do your fourth LP, you got to stick to form. His vocals have evolved like any band who has 3 LPs, I think. And he hasn't gotten worse. And it doesn't feel like he...
He's not going back to the well.
No, and so I'll say this for Sick of It All. Sick of It All, Blood, Sweat, No Tears, vocally.
Pretty bad.
I don't know that that's sustainable for records. By Built to Last, is Built to Last after Just Look Around?
Scratch the Surface.
Scratch the Surface. By Scratch the Surface, he has his voice that then this is my voice. This is what it is. You
Yeah.
know? Like Just Look Around, it's kind of the median. I actually really like where his vocals are there.
Yeah, that's
But
like the perfect.
he establishes what his voice is going forward. I think Daniel just evolved his voice in a way that feels so natural. Like it's awesome. He doesn't get enough credit for his vocal talent on
Good
this.
frontman, too.
And very good frontman.
Yes.
it's just well crafted. I listened to the whole thing twice back to back, and there's only one song, the second to last song, that I'm like, this one don't need it, but like everything else, the whole
So good.
it's really fucking good.
It's so good.
2015. That's when Heaven is Earth came out. Not Try
Heaven
Me,
is Earth.
but-
Oh yeah,
but
then.
I thought
This is better than Heaven is
For a second, I was like, oh, I'm crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Try Me was earlier.
So what do we think was worth? Like I said, label. It came out on Death Wish, and I think
So you're
Death Wish
asking
is
the question I wrote
is a
down. How did this record get looked over?
Yeah,
Didn't tour much.
Didn't tour much, and I think by this point they might have been spread out a little bit.
yeah, I think they were.
Yeah. I mean, aren't they like they're literally like all
over the country,
like
yeah.
Oklahoma and fucking
Pittsburgh,
North
everywhere.
Carolina.
Tennessee, and,
Yeah, everywhere.
right? Memphis or Knoxville or
Some.
I think so. Because some of the dudes that were in Will to Die,
Yes, that sounds right.
I believe. Yeah.
They were not a full-time band, I think, ever, which is fine. Good for them. But I think they had slowed their touring a lot by this time. And maybe it just got looked over a little bit. It clearly didn't get totally looked over because y'all were talking about it. And fuck,
I missed
I
it,
don't
though.
think it missed me.
Fumbled
And I
it.
think the art, I didn't love the tones, the color tones. That was the only thing. It didn't, and I think it's hard for a band as they go along further and further to
Doesn't
the
really
art
stand
needs
out.
to they need to do more and more to make the record stand out as
Well,
much as
because
possible.
what was the Climate of Fear was literally Just Look Around. It
Yes.
was like,
Yes.
Guilty as Charged was what?
It was a black and white photo of what looks like Richard Ramirez's body, but I don't know if it is, of a man in shackles.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a guy that has put out multiple black and white album covers, and Bob is 100% correct. I can say this from experience that I've rejected it because I know what I like.
Yeah.
But I'm in the wrong when it comes to selling records. You know what I mean?
And there's two parts of it. So you've done two full lengths that are black and white covers.
Yep.
Try Me.
Nope. Try Me
It's not, it's
has a
tone.
tone over it. Yep.
And then it's is it just
Heaven is Earth is black and white.
Yeah, and is the latest one black and white?
Also
No.
black and white.
I thought it had a tone.
No,
Okay.
black and white.
No, it's black and white, yeah.
Yeah, then,
has
then
like
you're
a
right.
weird,
Because
like-
I was gonna compare Try Me to this. I think Try Me is a more striking cover, both because of the image, but also the tone, just the little color that you have in it is enough.
I think there's no debate, and I think that if the next record that we do, if it's a photograph of this style, I'm going to put some sort of tone over it, just because I've learned that you really it sounds childish, but you really do have to give people reasons to investigate your record. You know what I mean? And what I find visually striking is not what everybody on earth finds visually striking.
Agree. I think all three of us are coming from different places on what catches our fucking fans.
I mean, I'm colorblind, so I can't see shit.
No,
I'm colorblind.
this
What's
record
wrong
came
with
out
me?
on
I'm
this.
Benjamin
This maybe is
Cumberbatch.
one of the best Death Wish records that's come out in the last 10 years, and we don't. And nobody thinks of
Include it in
Death
that
Wish,
list.
and no one thinks to include, and no one thinks of going to Death Wish for
This
one of the
type of
best
hardcore.
types of hardcore. Yes,
You can go
which
there,
is-
put in the code Axe to Grind. That's right.
Spell
Spell
that
it
out.
out. Buy this
if you
joint.
if you like New York hardcore and you haven't heard this record, you haven't bought this record, you're fucking up, like
Yeah.
just straight up.
If you like Madball, if you like Biohazard,
I think
if you like any
at
of that.
least two of us, Tom and me, both are like, this is our lane,
Yeah.
and we missed it.
A lot
I
of
don't
people,
know what happened with that.
I think it's a combination of wrong label for them, and I say this with total respect for Death Wish. It's just sometimes if you have been, so there's this debate, right? Like having worked and run
Yes.
labels, Bob, you can say this. People will say, labels will say, they'll be very frank with you because there's not a lot of money involved here. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
far as making money, labels will be honest and say, look, the benefit of sticking here is that people know where to find you. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
The drawback is maybe that people in a
Fatigue.
different space need to see you. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
making that decision is very fucking tough.
Now,
This
in
is a-
2015, who's putting this out? Is this a Reaper
Triple
record?
B.
Triple B on that level, though, yet.
Not no, maybe not. Maybe not
Closing
close.
it, but
yeah,
not, no,
close.
because they're established.
But you're not going to leave.
Maybe
you're not
Reaper,
leaving
but-
Death Wish 2015.
No,
for
to
Triple B.
B. No, you're
2015
right.
have to be a dick.
And I don't think you. No, I don't.
You might leave
I
for
don't know.
Reaper
Maybe, but
Reaper
I
was
think
hot.
Reaper.
by
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, that's just after Nonstop Feeling. So yeah, but who knows where the wheels were on that machine at that point.
Yeah.
Sure.
The thing I will say is that rings so true because think about how much people talk about the Bitter End song on that Triple B comp.
Yes.
True.
And I think this is a situation where a great band and a great label have resulted, like, they'll tell you, yeah, those Bitter End records do great.
Yep.
Great band, easy to work with. We
Yep.
love them.
Yep.
So that's all up and up. And I bet the band feels the same way. Like, yeah, those records came out exactly how we wanted them to. Great label. They get them everywhere. They support us when we do tours.
Yep.
They do everything we want to ask for them. Great, you know? But third record, the album art didn't pop to me personally.
I love it for what it represents, along with the title.
Me too. I think the theme was there. I just
Yeah.
wish that it
You'd miss
just
that in a
stood out.
record store.
Yeah.
Yes, that's entirely possible.
And so, and it's a lot like a lot of records, you know, we talk about this, and I think you see it with some bands who are 10 plus records into their career who are releasing records that you're like, you're putting a record out that looks like that because they're so desperate for it to stand out in some way.
And this
Right, on
it
the
was
end
so,
cap in a record
Yeah.
store.
Right,
or
and-
if
So
you're
desperate
flipping
for it to,
through
because you see the
Spotify
name
or-
and you're like,
so, and this is a major. So I'm in a band that's been around a long time, and I can say that this hasn't infected our way of thinking yet. But I do see peers that I think look a little thirsty in their album art because of where they have to go. Now it could be that that's just what's thrilling them at the moment.
Sure.
But once you've been around a long time, if you haven't been mixing it up, your mix it up record on album art can look not like you're trying to mix it up, but
No, it just
that you
sore
are
thumb.
flailing. You know what I mean? And that shit's tough. I also think that this, as we talk, who'd we talk about? Maybe Touche and somebody else we've discussed that you can reach a place where you are now 6 years into your career and it's a new kid coming in who is not interested in what his older brother was into. He'll go back to his uncle's stuff or he'll be looking forward. But he's not interested
in what his bullying older brother was.
This band is the kind that I want nothing more for them than to be able to go and do their own tour, picking the bands they go play with and being a headline level.
Agreed.
Even in small, they don't, you know, to 100 kids anywhere, they should be because they're fucking that good.
They probably could.
When they play,
They
it goes
come
well.
off.
Yeah. But
they're out on
usually
tour
they
with
do-
Ghost Main right now.
They did a few shows with Ghost Main, and I think they did a terror thing where they did a segment with that. And it's not
jump
like they
on
don't.
things.
It's not like
Yeah.
they're not active. They're doing as much as you would want to.
But I don't know if they've been to New York since Black and Blue when we played with them in Judge.
I remember when they did that.
They were
Maybe they've been
fucking
through
killing it.
once. I'm not sure though.
I don't know. Yeah, because I definitely would have gone back to see them.
Yeah,
They were
this
that
record,
impressive.
This record, wow,
Banger. Let's vote.
impressive.
I mean, look.
So let's say it again. It is The Beautiful Ones, Jaded Love, versus Bitter End, Illusions of Dominance.
I think Beautiful Ones really surprised all of us for the best. But Bitter End is just exceptional at what they do, and also scratched all of our bellies.
And this might be interesting to see what this Bitter End record does as it moves forward in the tournament, because this is like in the basketball tournament where you catch a Cinderella for whatever
get
reasons
hot.
that was low rated and end up taking out some high rated teams.
I got somebody on the
Bitter
team
End.
that's just like hitting threes and they're just
So Bitter End has what in the
Steph
tournament?
Curry with the 3. What's that?
Bitter End has what in the tournament?
This would be
like-
they win this bubble bracket. This would be their third record, right?
Okay, so
They have all 3 records, right?
they do.
Well, no, not 3. It's Guilty as Charged and Illusions of Dominance. Because
Wait,
Climate of Fear is before that. Climate of Fear is like 2008, so it's not in the 20.
Got it.
Okay, because I was gonna say
Yeah.
people ride so hard for Climate
Climate
of
of
Fear.
Fear's a good
I actually like the band as the band grows,
I think
but
I because I really like Climate of Fear, I just think they honed their craft better, and this might be better than Climate of Fear.
yo, I love that you said that because I feel like when I say it, people think that I'm like picking up on
Yeah,
some
you
weird
are.
things that people maybe
You're
the
an
fans,
artsy-fartsy.
yeah, maybe fans of it aren't into or whatever. But as a fan of
No,
this,
as a
shit,
fan of this,
Yes.
as like people, you know, like you'll be like, oh, well, you know, the stuff I like the most, the hardcore. If you were like Bob, you can only have one type of hard. It's New York hardcore,
Right.
You know, classic New York hardcore.
Yeah.
This is
This is classic
superior.
New York hardcore.
It's like I can't say anything but good things. So I'm voting Bitter End as well.
yeah.
This was the toughest bracket for me.
No shit.
Toughest
I love
choice.
I'm glad. I'm glad you like Beautiful One's record
I feel
that
like
much.
they were both sleepers for me because I missed out kind of on the Beautiful One stuff to a point. And I did not even realize this Bitter End record really existed. And I don't know how that kind of missed me, but it did. But it's really good, and I'm going to have to go for Bitter End too.
Okay.
So
Queen Sweep.
thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a fucking lot of fun.
Who are the four? The four
moving
on.
forward are Code Orange Forever, Regulate in the Promise of Another Tomorrow, Renounced Theories of Despair, and Bitter End Illusions of Dominance.
I don't know Todd.
I don't know Todd.
How did the rug get wet, Margot? I don't know, Oh no! How did that's what it is.
Yes.
How did the rug get wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot.
Yo, all right, so
Sorry.
we were joined.
Merry Christmas.
We were joined by a guest.
What a deep cut.
I know.
How was that
Holy
deep cut? It's fucking Christmas vacation.
Holy shit.
Were you referencing Terminator 2 before that?
What did I do?
I don't know,
I'm on
Todd.
crack. No, that
no.
was when
That's in
they come
Christmas
back in
vacation.
and they're
The window's been
What about
broken.
when what's his face? The kid from Terminator 2.
Which kid?
Eddie
Danny Cooksey, Eddie Furlong.
Eddie Furlong.
Eddie Furlong.
is working on his thing, and his stepdad's he's like, whatever, Todd.
Oh yeah.
so good.
It's really good.
Whatever terms of whatever how that.
They're really good.
We've been joined by a guest, Eric Wilson from Worst Possible Timeline.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Thank you so much for this cameo.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you for the
We're
cameo.
closing out, but we got
And
2
the
minutes.
Mexican cocaine.
Yeah, Mexican cocaine all day. Are you familiar with the movie Gremlins 2?
Yeah, classic.
We've discussed an Axe to Grind Worst Possible Timeline again because we did one when it was
Crossover.
wrestling cinema, the ancient times. Can we do a watch over of Gremlins 2?
That would be my pleasure.
Like a mystery science theater.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Lock it up. That's
We'll
going to
do
be
it.
one of our non-core episodes coming up. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everybody.